Come
All right, we're live. Thank you. Happy Wednesday. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Boy Jumpers Wednesday. You can't see that my friends are singing. You can just hear it, but they look great. They've just taken off their costumes. It was a quick change. I'm sorry that you won't be able to see any of that. What's up? It's Boy Jumpers, my favorite day of the week. I'll say what I always say just to get it out of here, okay? We'll be playing Monster of the Week. It's a game created by Michael Sands. It's a game system based on Powered by the Apocalypse mechanics. This will be an actual play stream, but our focus will be on the characters and the narrative. So we've made up a whole bunch of our own shit, a bunch of our own character classes. We're homebrewing rules constantly. We're going to do a little leveling up this session at the very top, and that's going to be some more of that custom fitting some of the rules that are created into our game, and using the system to build our own stuff, which I think it lends itself to very well. But that's it from just me. Let's bring everybody in this week, guys. What's up?
Oh.
This time I actually have a book next to me.
Same day. Oh.
Are we still singing that?
Well, I don't know what you mean by we, Lisa, because I believe everyone but you was singing it. Yes.
I was enjoying watching you. I didn't need to participate.
You can have your solo if that's what it's about. If it's like you want to be the star kind of thing.
No.
I think we could punch in, Mark, if you wouldn't mind. We could just punch into Lisa for a close-up, just get the solo out of the way so she feels good.
This is not solo yet.
Strike the solo.
Yet.
Here we go. Snap her in.
Before we get into the meat of this, I got some announcements. I want to do a little rule touch in, because I'm going to change some stuff. We're just going to go through a couple of these points, and then I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Also, I'm going to send in the rescue team.
I feel like I'm in trouble. Who else feels like they're in trouble? What are you about to do, Jesse?
Me? No, nothing. I thought you meant you felt in trouble because Trin's camera just flipped into circles.
No, I'm not going to take the blame for that.
No, I just want to start dealing with damage type. You know, we play loose with a little bit of stuff, but I want to give us a little bit more danger in regards to the damage that you're taking, because this game is built to have people be fragile in the way that human beings are fragile, that you can get hit and it hurts. And so I'm going to start separating the type of damage, and it'll really only matter in regards to armor. And so regular harm will be physical damage dealt to you guys by swords, punches, flying headbutts, scissor kicks, pile drivers, fireman carry throws, jumping off a banister into somebody. That's what's going to cause physical harm.
But only those things on that list, so if that was not part of it, then we're safe?
There would have been a comma, etc. at the end of that list to kind of cover a lot of blank space. Versus magical damage, which will be delivered to you guys in the form of spells for the most part, but also weird creature attacks. Magical damage will also double as elemental damage for the most part. There will be times in which we are changing what's happening based on the context, but your armor, which we're now going to get into, or I'm going to do a little bit of an armor audit. Who all has armor?
Sort of.
You got invincible?
I have a feat that stands in for armor.
Okay. Tren, you've got a 2 armor security vest, right? That is that is not against magical or elemental attacks. I'm just clarifying that now. Lisa?
Can you just tell us again that quick list of what it is armored against?
It's going to be scissor kicks, jumping off of a railing into somebody, headbutting people, chopping them, bloody knuckles, pile drivers, fireman carry throws, grapples, ear burns, suplexes, super suplexes. Yeah.
That thing where you twist someone's arm?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
People burn.
Yeah.
Wait, your vest protects against that?
Absolutely it does.
In most cases, yes, it does.
That's incredible. I wish I had one of those in lower school.
Now, Bryn, do you have armor?
No.
And in
You
case...
didn't keep the armor I gave you?
When did you give me armor?
Last season.
Yeah, I think that you did give her a security vest. It would have been like a 1 armor little light security vest. I think that we can assume that Rex would have given you a similar one coming down to this planet. So you have 1 armor, but it is not. It does not work against magic. And then
That's okay.
Casey, what's Puck Sam's situation?
So Puck just subtracts 1 harm from all damage.
Okay. And Sam's not vested up?
Sam's not currently vested up, and I haven't done my level ups for them yet. So I have some new moves coming my way.
Okay.
I mean, Sam's got a hat, so surely
Sam
that's
does
going
have
to
a hat.
protect, like from some headbutting or something.
Or the sun.
And he's
Yeah.
got,
So, another quick audit. What's the harm situation? Who's injured and how much?
Oh, probably undead. I don't know. I guess.
we drank that magic water that
Right.
he gave us, which I think healed us at least a little bit. Because most of us were down 2 from the travel through the desert, and then
Yes.
team.
I believe the magic water healed you all 1.
2 harm. Yeah, I was at 2. So now I'm at 1.
Oh, right. I was thinking time loop ship blowing up. I forgot that took place in the past. Yeah. So I'm at 2 harm.
Okay.
I am also at 2 harm.
All right. Oh, yeah, because you had a little snake incident.
Well, because my feet got burned because I didn't wear the giant cushions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You repurposed airplane seats as little booties.
Oh, wait a minute. The title of our episode is not Sam, it's Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be in relation to a couple different things in this game. I just realized that.
Wait, it can? Oh, yeah.
Yeah!
You, Sammy.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was about.
Oh, I thought it was about the snakes.
Oh, I forgot about the
Serpents.
snakes.
Serpents, guys.
Oh, no.
Okay, so that's all the harm that we're going to be talking about. It's really just differentiating the type of damage between magic and regular. And then I just wanted to know who had armor and what the armor was. The other thing that I'm going to change, I keep meaning to do this and I just haven't yet. It's when you guys investigate a mystery, there is a list of questions. They are specifically tied to monsters. They often do not work well in other situations. And therefore, I'm going to change it. When dealing with monsters specifically, you will be asking off of that list. When you are in any other situation, we're going to make it a little bit more loosey-goosey for our purposes. You're just going to phrase questions starting with the regular W's of questions. So who, what, when, where, and why. And then the number of questions you get to answer based on your role will allow you to ask a question that starts with that word and ends however you like. I will answer based on what knowledge I think you could gain from the situation. And you cannot double up on those words. That's the restriction. So you can't ask like why and then rephrase it and ask a different why. You would have to find different information.
When that's a restriction in dealing with monsters?
No. That's just when you're using investigate a mystery outside of dealing with monsters.
Cool. And read a bad situation as well, presumably?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The last thing we're going to do before we get into it is we're going to level up. Who all is leveling up?
Me.
All right. And Puck?
Yes.
I think just Puck levels up. We're going to count your experience as different as well.
Okay.
This is the first time it's come up, so I'm just going to make that call. Okay.
Sounds reasonable.
All right. So for you, Tag, we talked a little bit already, but why don't you tell us what the action is?
Telekinesis. Kyle?
We do love Tenacious D on Boy Jumpers.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's telekinesis. There's a move for that already exists. I don't... Yeah, let's say in the fiction that when in this past Gen Con special episode I met Half-Dad, that there was an exchange of power there, and that is the narrative explanation of how I suddenly am able to have a little telekinesis.
And the way that I like to look at it is that it isn't that you're being imbued with new powers. It's that a dormant power has been awakened.
Cool. I like it.
And that could grow. There could be others that will be decided as the game goes on. And we've kind of built some restrictions into how that was going to work, so we'll use them when the time comes. What about you, Puck?
Well, Puck has been a pretty big softie, and I thought it might be neat to make him a little more effective in the tank department. So it's looking at Claws of the Beast.
Whoa.
It's it just plays into the whole porcupine spike ball thing. Just lets him do a little more damage. He's still doing less than an RPG or something like that. But it seemed fitting that he might be able to poke people or something. So
It also sounds like the debut album of some kind of 80s prog rock hair band.
oh yeah,
The Beast, which is I just can hear the like.
Clowns of the Beast.
Yeah.
Clowns of the
Oh, yeah.
Beast.
and they're like holding a chalice or something like that on the
Yes.
The light shining down.
on like a high school kid's notebook.
Yeah, on a horse.
Oh, so good. And it's
With a
like,
giant sword, too. Yeah.
It's like one of the songs is like "Drink the Lightning" or something.
Yes! The sword is calling down lightning.
Can
Yeah,
we punch in on Lisa again to get her to sing the guitar solo from Punch the Lightning?
Punch the Light's guitar solo.
Whatever you want. Never mind. I was just.
it needs
I like
needle.
my throwbacks.
Okay.
All right, here's what's up. We're going to get rolling because we've goofed around enough as far as I'm concerned. Tag.
Yes.
That was a comma at the end of that sentence. We've goofed around enough as far as I'm concerned. Tag.
Well, what is your question?
Anyways. We're going to do a little previously on like we always do and go around the bend and talk to everybody about moments that stuck out to them. The difference between this week and last week is that we've had 2 episodes in the meantime. One of them is a special event that's getting tucked backwards in time, but there was some very relevant information that was relayed at the very end of that episode. It's a very fun spaceship-centric bottle episode that we did for Gen Con. If anybody hasn't seen it, check it out. It's on our Fantasy Network site. But we're just going to go through and kind of hit some of these beats and then link us back in and get going. Let's start with Tag.
Okay. Well, big news. I met my dad. He says his name is the Outsider, which
The
I
other.
the other.
The other.
The other, sorry. He says his name is the other. Like, he's been estranged from my life for a long time. I'm not going to just remember his name. I assume that he's just saying that to be cool. He maybe feels a little bad about not being here for the first 21 years. I suspect his name is like Lamar or Gerald or something like that, actually.
Gerald?
I don't know. I lived with a guy named Gerald once. He was a real piece of shit. But anyway. Yeah, he is a sinister force of unknown origin, and he has bestowed upon me the knowledge that I am the harbinger of annihilation, I think, for maybe everything. And he really wants me to help him end the world, and I'm just not sure yet.
Cool. You can make contact with this half-dad when somebody is wearing the invisibility cloak that the professor gifted to the party, and only during that time can you make contact with this entity, because that item was imbued with the anti-Erics that you guys pulled out of the Nightmare Crab. And it seems to be associated with this negative energy and this presence and this malice that you keep coming up against. And now Tag's like going on every other weekend visits with Half-Dad.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got a lot to make up for, so we'll see. I'm interested. I want that emotional connection, but I'm also nervous to, I've developed an identity independent of him, and he can't just roll up now, take me to go see Anchorman 2 in theaters like it's no thing, and expect me to just welcome him with open arms.
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Wait, say it again?
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Okay.
Anchorman.
I got you.
We got
I've never actually seen the Anchorman 2. I don't know.
Me neither, actually.
Yeah.
That's why Half-Dad's taking you. Anyways, Bryn, what's up?
What's up? Before I go, it looks like R. McClin just donated $10 and says,
Yeah.
"Here's you immortal elemental demigods with a sense of humor."
Hey,
Thanks, Rob.
Very much.
Yay!
thank you.
And that gets us closer to our goal of naming a planet. If we hit our goal, you guys get to name our fire planet.
And I believe there's even a name an NPC goal a little more achievably underneath that, right? Like, first we name an NPC, then we name a planet.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Very cool. Very exciting. So the end of the last episode on Saturday, we found out that the Elder Scorpion, which, side note, thank God I didn't name that thing. The Elder Scorpion that we defeated at the end of season 1, actually, is it the Erics, the Bloom Erics? From that got put into my staff, and the professor had the secret combo of buttons of ancient runes on my staff to touch, and it actually activated and called the essence, I guess, of the Elder Scorpion.
Your magic staff is like a recorder, is my understanding.
It's like a recorder. Yeah. One day I will make a staff and bring it to this live stream. Anyway, so got to call the Elder Scorpion and found out that I get to summon it once per adventure. And that we kind of found out that that's why they're called summoners. Because they have access to these, I don't even know what to reference them as, these ancient creatures.
Yeah, in my mind, the title was bestowed a long time ago. And so the reason why would have been considered unimportant at this point. You all can use magic, and maybe summoning forth energy was good enough. But this seems to be a truer definition, especially if these creatures are tied to the creation of the planets and the families that have been elected to protect them.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right. Rex.
All right, so last Wednesday's episode.
1,000 years ago.
It really does feel like a lifetime ago. Featured some fine moments of us surviving the desert, thanks to Bryn's resourcefulness at extracting cushions from our dropship so that we could walk across the desert with our feet ensconced in them. I think the big takeaway for me from that episode, though, was when we encountered a member of the Tyne, which are would you call them a creature? Are they humanoid?
They are humanoid in shape. They are of an ilk that Puck is. They seem to be an elemental race that predates humanity.
Cool. Well, we met these ancient beings that predate humanity who can transform themselves at will, only to discover that their kind are disappearing from Bryn's world, and are requesting our help in helping them survive.
All right, cool. And they've said, if you guys help us get rid of this thing that's eating our people, we'll take you where you need to go and get you there fast. And on the Fire Planet, where just simply getting around anywhere is very dangerous, that's quite the offer. Last but not least, Puck.
So there we are, having ridden the Void Jumper down onto the Fire Planet, and we're making our way across this desert, this endless seeming wasteland. And we're fighting for our survival, desperately trying to find food and water and shelter. And at one moment, Bryn, using her magic forces, reached up into the sky and pulled down a bolt of lightning, and it started to shower on us. And while the whole party was gathering water for our survival, Tag decided that the most important thing he could do was live in the moment. And he just threw his arms wide and opened up his mouth to drink from the sky, without any thought of the future, which Jesse promptly made note of and immediately threatened death. So it was a wonderful moment of levity matched with an equal amount of duress via mission control. So.
All right, cool. Any other thoughts before we jump in?
No.
Okay. I wrote myself a little note to kind of pick us back up where we left off. It reads, "The Tyne need your help. The Sammy Serpent has cut them off from the palace, patrolling the wastes, devouring any who dare try and cross. If you help them defeat the beast, they will grant you safe passage to the palace. But where we pick up is you guys in a courtyard surrounded by the Tyne. Zeem, your friend who led you across the desert, is standing ahead of you, holding a staff similar to a summoner's, though very old and much more raw, and wearing a crown made of porous rock. And Zeem has just said, in essence, you know, the decision to help you could end us, and we need to make sure that we're backing the right horse. So, we will help you if the summoner is able to complete our test with your help to prove that she is the true heir to the summoner line for this planet, and you all are worthy of helping her do so. So, a test. Did anybody want to do anything before this test gets started? Zeem asks. You look tired, thirsty. We've got some time. You can utilize it however you'd like. Otherwise, we can just get cracking.
I wouldn't mind a little band-aid or two. I know, Lisa, you've got a barrier spell. Are you a healer of a sort?
Yeah, I did pick up one, but I also have one med kit. Would that work? Or does he need the spell?
No, it's just, I'm always a fan of the renewable resources as far as healing goes, but
Let's
just
do it.
anything that taught me off.
I'll use my healing spell on him.
Cool. There is some stuff. Roll plus weird.
Oof. 8.
Cool. You get to be healed 2, Tag.
Great. I'm back up to crisp.
Perfect.
I'll turn to Zeem and I'll say, listen, don't tell the summoner this, but I have really bad blisters. Do you guys have like a cream or anything for that?
We do have a cream. And he points to the crowd and he says, Jay, will you go grab that cream out of my hut, please? Shortly after, Jay appears. They are carrying a mortar and pestle, and inside is this murky, kind of off-white goo. And Zeem hands it to you and says, we don't have skin, but we think that'll do well.
Cool, thank you. And then
You apply the cream, it is
I apply the
cooling
cream.
and soothing, and you heal 1 harm.
fantastic.
We make that from
Very
boiling the
sweet.
bones of our enemies.
Oh,
I knew it!
That's just
That's-
a joke. We make that from boiling all kinds of different bones, not just one.
and I think about that for a second. I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, is there anything else you want to do, or you just want to do this test?
Well, I would just like, Bryn, I would just like you to know that we all know you're worthy, regardless of the test. So just no matter how it goes, I want you to know that I appreciate you, and yeah, don't let the test determine your sense of self-worth. We all think you're very, very thumbs up.
Aw. Thanks, Puck. How are you feeling? Do you need healing or anything?
Nothing, fighting a giant Sammy serpent won't fix.
Are you sure you don't need a little grease on your onyx?
Well, nothing wrong with a little polish before you go into a big showdown with an elder viper. Hey, team. Does that
Yeah!
cream on, you got enough cream to go around? I could style my rocks.
Sure. Jay, would you mind whipping up some more cream for us, please? Shortly after, Jay returns with another mortar and pestle full of cream. It doesn't seem to do the same thing for you because you also don't have skin. It does put a nice sheen on you, but mechanically there is no change.
Well, I'm extra shiny now. That feels good.
You look great.
You look so
There's a gust
sparkly.
of wind, and you can feel the sand kick up a little bit, and as it clears, Puck is standing there, and he's just covered in sand that is now sticking to him because of the cream.
Oh, camouflage! Brilliant. I do sand angels and get a nice even coating.
Sure. I'm going to give you +1 forward once, that if you make a stealth check in the desert, you get a +1.
Great.
I even did the inside of my mouth for character consistency.
Yeah.
Just so that if you get excited while sneaking up on someone, like, they won't see you.
Okay, so Zim is very loosey-goosey and having a great time, and the rest of the Tyne in the area seem to be the same way. They're just these effervescent, bubbly beings that are kind of bobbing around and just kind of whispering to each other and very excited that you're here. And even though Zim is pretty low-key, he is given this reverence by the rest of the Tyne, and you get from his crown that he is the leader. He even called this his village when he was here. But he doesn't seem, besides shouting to Jay for some more cream, like, he doesn't seem to be in any kind of managerial capacity. But Zim says, all right, follow me, and leads you to the opposite end of this kind of square in the center of their village. And in front of you is a large pyre of lumber that seems to have been deliberately constructed. It is much more intricately placed than a bonfire would be. It almost looks like Lincoln logs, but a very, very complex structuring of them, and it is rather large. The wood is glistening. There are some barrels off to the side that are tipped over and seem to be empty. And around this thing, there are hot coals arrayed like a moat of ember, too wide to jump across. Zim leads you there, and the rest of the Tyne disperse. And Zim says, all right, this is an ancient test that we've used since our first interactions with the summoners. It was actually devised by your people, Bryn, in a way to test each other and show off their worth to our species and several of the other ancient ones on this planet. Cool, right?
So cool.
All right, so take it away.
Okay, so I'm trying to get to the logs?
He backs away and does not answer your question, and the rest of the Tyne circle this, and there's this feeling of anticipation. You've been given no clear directive. You've just been brought to this place where there is a large pyre of wood that is glistening, surrounded by a circular moat of coal. Hot coals. Like they look like almost lava. And it's just a little bit too wide to do a straight jump across.
Can I investigate a mystery?
Absolutely. Roll plus sharp. We will be using our new rules, so you just get to ask me W questions.
Oh. Okay, I got a 9.
Cool. You get to ask me 2.
The W questions, so don't look at the things on the list.
Yeah, forget those things on the list.
What is the importance of this? Of the logs?
You see that when you take a closer look, a runic language has been carved into each of the logs and streaked through the sand. Bryn, you've seen reference to this language in some of your grandmother's journals. It's referred to as ember speck or flame tongue. And now that you're looking at it, you can see that those same runes that the professor touched on your staff to get it to do things are dotted throughout here. Specifically carved into the wood. It is not a language that you can easily understand, but it does seem to be a sequence of words, not just glyphs of power. There seems to be language being conveyed.
Oh.
You get another question.
But I can't read it, is what you're saying.
I think that you could.
Then my next question is going to be, what does it say?
Okay. There is no direct translation, but the gist is a series of existential queries and a challenge to look inside oneself, to identify oneself as the solution before ever addressing the problem. Tag, what would you like to do?
Pop it in the phase state.
Excellent. You can see very clearly that around this pyre, emanating from the moat of coals, there is a barrier. You've seen one of these before. They are the same type that look to be surrounding the planets. This one, however, is a bit more transparent, and you get the impression that it is nowhere near as strong as the one that is locked off your communication from this world.
Okay.
You also catch the elemental presence of water. It is glowing a bit stronger than regular water would read. It is coating the logs, and the barrels nearby seem to be covered in a light residue of it as well.
A light residue of water.
Water.
Okay, Summoner, looks like we got some wet wood, a little bit of a barrier around it, and some hot coals. That's
What kind
about
of barrier?
Kind of feels like the thing around the planet. It's a magical barrier, not quite as strong.
Okay.
Rex, what would you like to do?
Well, you said it's a barrier too wide for an ordinary human to just jump across.
The coals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can do 6 stunts.
Fuck, yeah, you can. You want to do some 6 stunts over the barrier?
I'm going to do some 6
Or,
stunts
sorry.
over the barrier.
I'm going to
Over
just...
the coals.
Yes, I'm going to
Yes.
correct my own bullshit because I'm going to
Yes.
make it confusing on accident. There are coals and
Yes.
invisibly a barrier. You're jumping
Right.
coals. Roll your
jumping
6
coals.
stunts. This is the first time we've seen 6 stunts in action.
6 stunts, everybody!
What is that? Is that a plus to that?
It is plus tough because you're tough as hell.
That's an 11, my friend.
Okay.
Those
You do 6
stunts.
stunts, my dude, is the exact wording. So tell me how you get over that moat of coals.
So,
I would just say, to flavor it, I don't think a simple walk up to the edge and jump is going to suffice, so
Sure.
give us the razzle-dazzle.
all right. Razzle dazzle. In my off time, I've been watching a lot of gymnastics videos, and Simone Biles is particularly impressive. And so
Yeah.
I think I've been practicing, in the armory, just running up to shit and then doing some crazy ass flips that just go on and on and on until I have pole vaulted into the air. So
Uh-huh.
I think we're talking, like the 360 full revolutions.
Okay.
It's like when pole vaulters run up to something, and I don't even have a pole, but that's how sick my stunts are.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
I'm doing that big, huge run and then just 8 flips.
Okay. Yeah. You see Rex just squint, kind of eyeball the distance, and while you're all getting touchy-feely with the essence, she just grits her teeth and takes off at a dead sprint, and then starts to tumble and flips through the air up and over the coals. Tag, are you still in the phase state?
Sure.
You just see that she passes through, no problem, the barrier. It doesn't even really react to her passing through. And she lands safely on the other side, right next to the pyre. Puck, what do you want to do?
I would like to walk down to the coals and see how hot they are.
Okay, they're really hot.
Ooh, hotter than the inside of that the mining truck.
Not as hot.
Okay, I would like to walk across the coals to.
You do so. You are now standing next to Rex, next to the pyre.
I have to give those flips a 10. That was amazing. I came all. Oh, I crossed. I just wanted to say good job. That was great.
Is there any other actions you want to take? You being who you are not going to need to do anything to simply walk across the coals. You get the impression that you are the only person in the party who could do that easily, or without taking damage. But is there any other actions you want to take now that you're on the other side?
Well, I'd like to take a look at the runes, see if that's anything similar to the Spriggan language on the Void Planet at all, see if there's any similarities.
There's overlap. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. You get a feeling that it's more of like a dialect difference, a regional difference, than it would be an actual different language. It is a very, very old thing. One of the oldest things your people would have in memory. It's a language that's been handed down to them by an unknown source. So it was not created by any mortal minds. You would refer to it as something different. What would the Void Planet, if the Fire Planet refers to it as Ember Speck or Flame Tongue, what would the Spriggans on the Void Planet call it?
They are void glyphs.
All right.
I like it.
So, having a more comprehensive understanding of this language, how old is Puck, by the way?
Well, so technically, in immortal terms, Puck is actually pretty young.
Okay.
So, in immortal terms, he's about 8. So that's like maybe in human years, that's like several thousand years old.
Okay. But not one of the original creatures.
Oh no, because Puck's name actually means seed, because he's basically like probably one of the youngest Spriggans around. They don't tend to create many more because ostensibly the Spriggans are immortal, but when one does perish in some fashion, they harness the energy back and bring forth another one. So you do have some age gaps, even though it's sort of like inherited memory. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, having a more complete understanding of the language, again, there's not a direct translation, but you're able to see that these glyphs would not have been written by somebody fluent. It would have been written by a learned hand, and so probably summoners themselves would have carved these glyphs into the trees. And it says something like, there's a couple symbols for fire, and then there's a couple symbols for difficulty, and then there's a sentence that kind of sounds like, hit me with your best shot.
Ooh. Oh, I love that song. That's okay. Well, I'm gonna walk back, and because I think the summoner might and Tag may have a good insight on this, and it's probably easier if I just carry them across.
Sure. Tag, when he walks back to you, you kind of caught it the first time. When he walks back, the barrier peels over him, and a purple, similar to the energy Puck emits in the phase state, trickles into the barrier itself, and then he passes through, and you see that void energy dissipate into the barrier. Puck is standing right back next to Tag and Bryn.
All aboard!
Oh. Okay.
It's not going to hurt. I can just climb up.
I kneel down. Why don't you each sit on a shoulder? You want to stay as far away from the heat as possible.
Oh, sure, thank you.
Sure. It's not pokey?
Not right now.
Okay.
Everybody's safe.
Yeah,
Okay.
no one startle the giant chrysalisk
Yep.
void golem, please.
All right.
All right, yeah. Puck safely carries you across. Those
Hey,
of
boss,
you who...
I don't want
Sorry.
to step on your toes here. It's your challenge. I want to defer to you. What are you thinking? How do you want to handle this?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of wanted to get across and examine the wood and see what's going on with it.
The reason I ask, I'm not even gonna. I was just gonna power
Been a
right
day.
into that, pretend that you do not exist.
I'm gonna do this all night. It's just gonna happen.
this is becoming your shtick for this show. Troy.
God, it's so embarrassing. Anyways, the law I would like to look at.
Right. The reason I ask is, I know that we've had a bit of. I'm bringing my voice down slightly, but I suspect people can still hear, so I'm going to choose my words delicately.
I'm going to say this conversation is taking place before you've crossed through the barrier, because there will be a slight moment to address, but continue.
For years.
I know that. No, you're okay, Puck. I know that we had some sort of, I won't say rules, but guidelines that we wanted to maybe lean back from your power, your abilities with fire.
Right.
But you know I'm an enabler, so I'm always going to tell you to go for it. That's all. Just wanted to give you a vote of confidence.
Oh, goodness. Using fire on the fire planet?
Yeah, I'm not speaking from an informed place. I just think that it's pretty cool what you can do, and I wouldn't want you to feel too bad about what comes naturally. Because if it comes naturally, it's for a reason.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I keep everybody safe. That's the most important thing to me.
Sure.
But I would like to look at these logs up close and see what's about. I have no thoughts right now. I'm trying to piece this together. I mean, obviously, you said there's a barrier and there's coals that are hot, so there are precautions put in place to get to these logs. So I'm interested in seeing them.
Well, one of the things that we were taught in training was you never know till you try it. It seems pretty simplistic, and I don't want to dumb down the exercise, but I'd say if we start slinging some flames, we'll only learn.
Right, unless that's what they want me to do, and that's what I'm not supposed to do, is lose control, and then I'm not worthy.
Well, if it's worth anything, it seems like perhaps the challenge, if the point is to make sure that you're a worthy summoner, and you are in fact who you say you are, that you would be able to actually ignite this giant pyre of soaked wood. They say it because it makes it more difficult. Perhaps the fire is here so you have something to draw from. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, as they say.
Okay, I'll consider it.
Sure.
Let's go check it out.
Let's check it out.
Pocket
Let's
carry
look at
you
those
across.
dicks. I mean, logs.
What'd you say?
I said let's check out the logs.
Pocket carries you across, and as you pass through the barrier, Tag and Bryn, you do feel a moment of it sliding over you in a way that Rex did not. And for a second afterwards, you feel a little bit of lethargy, and then you kind of like catch your bearings again, and you get that second wind and you push through. And Puck sets you down in the sand next to Rex, next to the pyre of logs.
Do I feel like I've lost anything in passing through the barrier?
No, there was just a moment where you felt it interacting with you, and then afterwards you felt a little lethargic, but it was fleeting.
Okay.
You are now standing next to this pyre of wood. What would you like to do?
Is there anything in the middle of the wood?
Roll investigate a mystery.
5.
There is not. You do mark an experience. That's the thing about this pyre, is that there's it doesn't seem to be built in the way that a productive fire would be built. There's a bit too much space between the logs. There's no kindling. That's that when I say that there's nothing in the middle of them, I mean like you would expect to come over here and see smaller pieces of wood and hay or whatever. There's none of that.
And Puck, you interpreted it to say, hit me with your best shot, is what it says.
Yes. Of course, it's a different dialect, but, catchy song lyrics, they make their rounds, so.
Well, what if I'm supposed to build something instead of destroy it?
Well, again, one of the things that I know about the Spriggans, and apparently the Tyne as well, is some of the trickery lies in not being that tricky.
So you're telling me I'm overthinking it?
I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying that they sincerely do want you to prove who you are, and I can't think of a, more direct way to prove that you are indeed who you say you are by igniting something that is inignitable.
It's inignitable because it's got water on it?
I don't know. I've never actually summoned any fire myself.
As you say that, Bryn, you carelessly slide a finger over the log and look at this water that you're talking about, and you catch this whiff that kind of reminds you of home. And you touch it to your tongue. That is 100% water from the river near your palace.
So healing water.
It is healing waters that have been pulled directly from the ground. It has magical properties to it. You get the impression that it's kind of like super water, which if Puck is talking about something being inignitable, that could be a part of it.
Okay. I mean, I could try a little bit of fire on it, I guess.
Sure. Roll plus weird.
Just a baby bit. 10.
Okay. So, you are able to cast a full blast of fire. Are you using it through your staff or just trying to pull it out of the air and use your hands?
Just using my hands for now.
Okay. So you feel that there is an immediate connection to the coals that are around you. And you are able to pull heat and energy right out of them and let loose this fire that flies from your hands. The fire heads towards the pyre before curving upwards and swirling around what you now can see as a defined barrier around you. That magical energy is absorbed into it, and even Rex, who has no concept of the phase state, can see that the barrier actually exists now around you as fire, and it is a little bit hotter in here now.
Oh no. You guys really shouldn't be in here with me.
I feel good. I think we have some emergency outs if we need them, but part of the task is proving that we're worthy to support you, and I don't think that the best way to do that is to leave you on your own.
I just nod in agreement.
Also, Rex, those were some really, really sick stunts.
They were dope.
Yeah, they were fly as fuck.
Thanks, that felt pretty cool.
So, Bryn, what do you want to do?
I mean, I'm gonna try to pull the water away from the logs.
Okay. You are going to roll plus weird.
10.
All right, cool. You rip the water right out of the logs, and it flies up into the air like a dog shaking itself. And then that water is immediately drawn into the barrier, and all of the fire is put out, and you are now in a significantly less hot place, and the logs look quite a bit drier. Tag, what do you do?
So, Your Elegance, if I may, this might be big magic o'clock. And you are the summoner. It's all going to come from you, but if there's something I know about big magic, it's that it is about adding composite elements to create something larger than each individual part. And if I can offer myself as one of those composite elements, if we can all do what comes naturally to us to pitch into this kind of ritualistic creation, I really do believe that you can get fire through that barrier, that it is no stronger than all of us put together.
And to be clear, you guys are inside the barrier, and it's almost like the outer edge of an aquarium was pulling the fire away. So you're not having to go through a barrier. It's like this net outside, this magnet. It was pulling all of the elements away into it so that they're around you. What you're saying,
is it
right.
relevant? It
Not
must be
entirely.
relevant.
It's more about the geographical placement of your characters, but what you're saying is accurate.
The barrier stopped the fire from getting through.
It caught it out of the air.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a magnet for elemental magic.
Mhm.
So technically, if I try to use magic, it's going to get pulled into the barrier. Puck, do you?
But I think what Tag said rings true to everybody, knowing what you know about the elements, and that if he's talking about the barrier pulling magic, you could possibly think about how you are incorporating the pieces, I think, of what he's saying. I derailed the point of it by talking about placement, but I think that the heart of what he's saying should not be overlooked.
So, okay.
And I pull out my tiny measuring glass. No, glass. That's wrong. What's the thing that you look at that makes
Magnifying
things...
glass.
Magnifying glass.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, I don't know any magic, but I used to fry ants back on my planet with this guy.
You're a sadist, Rex.
Try it.
Yeah.
Okay. That could, if you're talking big magic, that could be used as a focus. So if you guys are talking about building a spell, you've now got at your disposal fire from Bryn, whatever the fuck Tag does,
Yeah, fair.
void from Puck,
That's
and
me.
a focus provided by Rex.
Oh goodness.
So you're our source. You are the
Yeah.
engine of this ritual. It looks like what Rex is offering is a way to focus that energy, and in doing so, really magnify it in a specific area. You know, I can't offer much here, but I find that I am possessing of an empathy with more things than I think I should be. And while this barrier doesn't seem sentient, this whole ritual comes from centuries and centuries and centuries of culture and lore, and all of those things do imbue their own kind of humanistic or creature or sentient magic into things. And I do believe I'd be able to reach out and form an empathetic connection with that and ask essentially for our passage. And I look at Puck and I say, I think he might be able to do literally anything.
I would offer this. This is the first time I've presented you guys with a puzzle like this, and I don't have a specific solution in mind, but one of the things that I want you to feel free to do is to not try and hit it on the head the first time. And in doing so, to create a system we can use in the future so I can really start to fuck with you guys, I'm going to offer advice, in a sense. I think that what Tag just proposed is an engine and a focus. And so, Bryn, you're going to try to focus your magic through Rex's magnifying glass, and you're going to roll plus weird.
Is she holding it?
She's doing whatever she wants to do with it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll hold it in place.
Okay.
Oh boy. All right. 10.
Okay. You are able. Are you using your staff or your hands?
I think I'm not gonna use my staff yet.
Okay.
That's
Again, you pull fire through the air from these coals, and because you rolled so high, you are able to get it through this focus, and it focuses into a beam of red hot light. And this beam heads straight towards the pyre and then bends in the air and goes right back up into the barrier. But you did what seems to be a portion of this correctly. You've now created a system in which you can go very strongly and shoot fire. So now we have 2 more characters who can then layer in their ideas to deal with keeping the beam focused. And it seems to be the barrier that is the problem.
Coals, barrier, magnifying glass. So the coals were the fire was taken from the coals, pulled through the barrier.
But the barrier, coals, magnifying glass. The fire was taken successfully from the coals, shot through the magnifying glass, and then pulled up to the barrier.
Okay.
As though there's a magic magnet above you guys.
Okay, so the coals are inside this bubble with us.
Oh, I thought they were. I didn't know that either.
Sorry. Not the visual, I apologize.
It's all good. Puck, you wanna make a play? I got some ideas, but I don't wanna. I feel like I've been hogging it.
Where did you get that staff?
My staff?
Yeah, where did you get that staff?
It came from my mother. I mean, it was given to me.
I don't want to seem presumptuous, but it seems like if they're trying to prove that you would be you and that you're the lineage of your mother, maybe using something she gave you would aid in the successful attempt of doing the thing that you're doing. Like maybe only something she gave you or something that was imbued with her essence would, be effective.
Yes, I think that's true. I just want to make sure that I don't lose control over it.
What do you mean?
The staff magnifies my connection to the elements, and especially fire. And I have had some incidences in the past where I haven't had the best amount of control over fire. So I'm just nervous. I don't want to harm anybody.
Well, there's a lot of sand around, so that tends to put people out. So
That's true. You could protect them if something goes wrong.
also, the professor made it possible for me to sort of turn me into a giant squirt gun. So I can also put people out that way.
Okay.
Plus, we have faith in you. I know who you are, and that's why the Tyne are so lucky to have you here. You're going to do an amazing job. Absolutely.
Okay.
Bryn, bolstered by Puck's words of encouragement, you grab your staff, and this time there's no roll required. With the use of the staff, and you feel that hunger inside you rise up, you are easily able to just pull energy right from those coals and blast it through that magnifying glass. You no longer have any problem generating the power that you need to shoot through the lens. That being said, it still does not reach the pyre because the shield seems to be dissipating the magic after it leaves Bryn's control. Tag, what do you do?
Bryn, this is gonna sound crazy.
Oh no, I doubt it.
Oh, okay. I want you to blast me with the fire.
Oh, that's crazy.
I kind of had, I thought I would.
Typically said I don't want to harm anybody.
Right, I was gonna kind of tone it down and lead you into it, but when you said I don't think it'll sound crazy, I just jumped and told you the thing. So here's my lead in. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but as Puck was talking, it got me thinking about this idea of faith, and I've seen some things. I've been told some truths about the world and my place in it that I just don't want to believe and don't want to be a part of. What I want to be a part of is this squad that we have right here. And I think that faith really comes down to what you choose to believe in and what you choose to do with that belief. And as I'm talking, I'm kind of staking a step through the Jenga tower of logs. I say, there is magic here. I can feel it in these glyphs, these runes, this ritual. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that you're not going to hurt me. I'm going to go into the phase state, and if you direct it at me there, I believe that I'm going to be in a place away from the physical harm of it, and I'll be able to act as a conduit more powerful than the magnet at the top of this barrier pulling it upwards.
Okay. Well, that sounds a little better than just light me on fire.
Right. And just in case, though, Puck, have that squirt gun at the ready.
You got it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So there will be a roll required for tag, but the way that I want to start doing this because your interaction with the phase state is becoming more and more frequent, and I really like it because I think it's an interesting element of this game. And so when you roll to enter into the phase state, it will not be to dictate whether or not you are able to accomplish that. The number will inform me as to what type of complications you might experience or come across when exiting this plane and existing in another. So the roll will not have an effect on whether or not you're able to do what you want to do. There just might be some additional consequences.
Great.
Puck, besides standing by with some squirt guns, is there anything that you want to do as part of this ritual?
I noticed, by the way, as you passed through the barrier, I don't think I mentioned this, but it felt you. It pulled some of that void off of you. I don't know what that means. You may know more than me.
Well, void tends to be fairly anti-magical. Perhaps if I stand in the barrier, it will be a hindrance to said magnet.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Puck, you walk over and just straddle this barrier, and Tag, as you first just enter into the phase state with your eyes and not necessarily your body, you do see that flicker of void energy that you saw when he first passed through. Now that he's standing here, it is beginning to seep through and almost infect the barrier. And you can see that as it's going through, there is a flickering. And the barrier is not disappearing, but it is ceasing to exist in these little flutters. Tag, you then, you focus. It seemed like it was just some kind of like intense focusing exercise to enable to like exit this plane. You cross into the phase state, and you're gonna roll plus weird.
9.
Okay, cool. So, tell me what you guys do. You've got a generator of power, a lens, somebody who will be interacting with the blast, and somebody who is, for all intents and purposes, successfully interacting with the barrier. I think really you're just shooting a laser. We really got to just figure out what the hell Tag is doing in this.
Oh, okay. I mean, so I sense that there is something pulling it from upwards. I can feel as that fire heats up in Bryn's staff that, you know, that magnetism from above me is being interfered with from Puck. And as it hits me square in the chest, there's a moment where I don't know if I'm going to have control over it or if it's just going to bust out of me entirely, but it does come in and I can feel almost this strange sense of being injected with something. It's just filled my body, but in the phase state, I am able to act as a container for this elemental magic. And I put my hands out onto these beams. What happens?
So, this is what happens. The plan goes through. There is a couple moments of fear, especially from Tag. What you guys see is somebody who just kind of enters into this half state of existence, a very transparent Tag who takes on this dark, almost black light quality to his being as he is no longer in your realm. And you see that he collects all of this energy and is almost bursting with it, and he reaches out and hits the logs. When the energy discharges, the logs explode and catch fire. There is no complications on that because Bryn removed the water from them early on, and the whole pyre goes up. But in the discharge, excess energy is injected back into the barrier, and Puck gets hit with an aftershock of it and takes 2 harm. That's coming from your partial success. From entering into the phase state. On your exit, there is a discharge of extra energy that damages him through the barrier that he is currently disrupting. He steps out of it and the barrier leaps back, but the flames are raging to the point where even though they're trying to be drawn up into the magical field, the pyre is completely ablaze, and the tine encircling you erupt into cheers and applause, and they start floating around and juggling fireballs and doing all kinds of crazy fire people shit, and there's just this massive celebration. And Zeem, enters from the crowd, and they split to make way for him, and he taps the barrier, which you can now see as this roiling kind of collection of fire that is pulling off the pyre. He taps it with his staff, and it dissipates. And there's just a light puff of smoke as the heat removes itself from right around you guys. And you're standing there. Rex is holding this red-hot magnifying glass, which he drops. Puck has been taken back, and Tag is now slightly smoking, but he seems to be okay. And
Yeah,
Ren,
I
you're
know what
standing
it
there.
feels like to be the ants.
Yeah, you do, you sicko. And Zeem says, "Wow, you did that a lot faster than most everybody else. But to be fair, the civilizations that we were interacting with using this test were hundreds of years old and relatively stupid compared to your standards."
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, you've proven yourself worthy to the Tyne, and we would be more than happy to honor our arrangement. If you are able to go into the desert and take care of our problem, we will safely give you passage all the way to the palace if you'd like. We can do so without causing you any harm, and we can make sure that you do so in, well, a lot less time than it would normally take. Cool?
Thumbs up for me. But you seem concerned, Bryn. What's up?
I'm running over to Puck and giving him my med kit because someone got injured and I'm not happy about this.
Oh, to Puck?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Puck took 2 harm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting about the med kit is it doesn't work on Spriggans.
It's okay. The sun took the majority of the blow.
Smoke.
I'm so sorry. You had so much confidence and I couldn't keep you from the blast.
No, it wasn't your fault. It was the barrier. You did everything right. It was that naughty barrier. And then Zeem came along and did away with it. Bye-bye, naughty barrier.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
I think things to take away from this before we move forward, because it's a new type of puzzle that I'd like to implement, and I have trouble sometimes communicating my desires. So, using void energy to counteract a spell that was disrupting magic was effective. Having Tag directly interact with magic to amplify it seemed to be effective. Rex not being able to use magic and instead pulling out of something from her kit, an item, a device, a weapon in the future, something that is unique to Rex. Items get enchanted in this world. The company has a huge part of their income built into imbuing things with magic, and much of the technology in this world runs on that. And more so than anybody else in this party, Rex will be able to bring that to the planning discussions because she cannot use magic. And so having somebody grounded in non-magic can be useful to you as far as obtaining focuses, enchanted items, etc. And Bryn, you're a generator of elemental energy. So using all of those things combined, you were able to solve my pyre riddle. The Tyne take care of you. There is a feast. They go out into the wastes and they catch a number of Sammy serpents and several different rodents and prepare them in a way that they do not eat, but know how to prepare for a summoner and her entourage. There are long... What's up?
Sorry, just a question for Zeem, but I didn't know there's more. I want to hear more food, but then I'll have a question for Zeem.
They just bring all of they almost deconstruct their dwellings in order to build these long dining tables, and they go out into the desert and they forage and they come back with this food, and they come back with pails full of the water that you now know to be healing water, and they fill up these glasses and they take care of you, and the night is lit by their bodies and their being. There is no need for lanterns or candles because they are illuminating, and as the sun goes down, you guys spend a night with the Tyne. You are completely healed due to rest and also drinking this water, and you are going to be in a far more rested state than the one in which you arrived. If you would like to do anything at this feast, talk to each other or anybody else, you can do so. If you would like to make any preparations before you set out into the desert, you can do so, whether that be gathering information. These creatures seem to have come up against the thing that you are about to go fight. But other than that, when you are ready, we will say that the night ends, morning comes, and you head out into the desert.
Yeah.
Hey, Zim.
Yes.
Hey, very cool puzzle back there. That was fun.
Thanks.
So these little snake bites are delicious,
Yes.
but I've never seen them before. We tried to eat them when we were in the desert. Rex threw a dagger at him, and the dagger melted entirely. It was like they had some sort of corrosive blood or something like that.
Oh, it's a type of I guess it's similar to what you would call hot lava, but it is biologically created in their bellies. Most of the creatures on this planet had an accidental exposure to the element that created it in their awakening. This happened millions of years ago. When things were being brought into existence, sometimes they wouldn't turn out exactly the way that they planned, and many of the creatures had some wires crossed with the magic that emanates here. Much like the summoners themselves, it's how they tap into it. Anyways, I digress. Animals, for the most part, use it to manifest types of defenses or offensive in their existence. And so these snakes, they have a gland located in the top of their mouth, which creates a type of corrosive lava.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hyper bile.
And they can. This is just when they're attacked, it's released, or they can spit it out, so to speak.
They spit it out, and it's usually used in a reaction to some kind of attack.
Well, I do suspect we will be attacking. How do you get around it when you collect and hunt and eat them?
These snakes have no effect on us. They are very different in size and power compared to what you will be going up against in the desert. Though that creature shares a lot of the basic biological similarities. It too is a serpent and tends to spit as well. But these snakes, they do nothing to us. We don't hunt them very often, and we have no need to feed on things like this. But we just catch them, and if they spit on us, there's no big deal.
No. Okay. Well. Okay.
The big one, however, whoa! Don't let that one spit on you.
Oh, I don't want it to. Yeah, I guess I was hoping you had some kind of old technique, tie the lava spitting gland kind of thing. That's okay. Well, I'm sure.
I imagine that you could try to disable it or destroy it. It would be difficult, but not impossible. Oh, I will say this. If you get it on you, I would try to get it off rather quickly.
Does it respond? I don't really know how lava reacts with water. Does it just harden? Does it turn into...
It's okay. If you can't get it off of yourself, I would take off whatever you're wearing that gets it on it. Sometimes completely submerging yourself in sand will do it as well.
That was Puck's idea. That was good. Okay.
Running naked through the desert.
Yeah, actually, about that, this is embarrassing. I don't know if you've noted my wardrobe.
Jealously.
It was cultural. It's not common to wear only one half of pants.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I don't know, maybe had some travelers in the past. Any just spare pair I could put on?
Unfortunately, any pants that I could procure for you.
No, it's okay. I do like it. I think it's a good choice fashion wise. So I
think it is a great look.
Okay. It's great party. I'll see you around. I have to go.
I would like to fashion some new boots out of the snakeskin for Rex to protect her feet.
Yeah, you do it. I think that you've got enough time. You can roll act under pressure. I think it'll be more about what they look like. Don't fail.
What do I apply to it?
Plus cool.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah. It's funny, how these things work like that. Luckily, with my bonus, I get a whopping 7.
Oh, hey! Okay. They're not very fashionable, but they are functional. Your feet are now going to be protected from the hot sands of this planet should you need to spend any prolonged periods of time in them.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And not functional, not fashionable, I feel like is kind of my whole aesthetic. So
Well, then I'm the guy.
Is there anything else you guys want to do before you turn in for the evening?
I would like to ask Zim a couple questions.
Sure. Zim is available to you. So are many of the other Tyne. I think Zim is just our most recognizable face.
Right. I just have a couple questions. Does the thing we're about to fight give a signal right before it spits? Is there something we should be listening for or looking for so we know to get out of the way?
I think it would be pretty obvious, but again, it seems to be a reaction, as though it is a response. And so perhaps what you're asking is, it will need incentive to spit.
So as soon as it sees us, it'll spit?
I think it just, if there is an incoming attack, it'll spit in response.
Okay.
He says.
Speaking suspiciously mechanically, rule set guiding his actions.
Is there any kind of protective headgear that we could wear?
Probably. What do you have in mind?
I'm guessing just something to protect. I mean, if we get spit all over our head, it's not going to be great. So something that would just be a barrier to that.
Yeah, I think that I could offer you the pieces and parts that we have collected over many, many years. So there are bones, rocks, and skins at your disposal. You will have enough materials to craft an item if you would like to, but you will have to roll for it. So if you would like to make some helmets, who's making them? It's going to actually be, I think, whenever Puck tries to make stuff, he has to roll act under pressure because his hands are very big. Whenever anybody else tries to make stuff, they will be rolling plus charm.
Plus charm?
Charm.
Oh.
It's a stat that never gets used in this game, and so we're going to start using it sometimes.
I think I'd like to say that I've been watching this happen, and I've been gathering materials with the intention of, okay, I'm gonna make myself a little helmet. But if Casey, you're up for it, I think maybe Puck beat me to it. And I just like the idea of being accumulating adornments from Puck.
Yeah.
If it's feasible, Casey, in your world of fiction with this character, that he might have thought like, oh, I should make him a matching hat with his pants. I
Well,
would be honored to accept it.
I mean, Rex got the first boon out of necessity. You know, the snakeskin weaving is part of, items of need. But Puck does have a battle action plan for cobbling in the evening, as part of a team unification plan that he with bones.
we all do crafts together.
Yeah.
I'd like to try to fashion some bone armor. I don't know if it will actually do anything, but
I have an idea of mechanics. So if you fail, it's not going to be great, but if you like, a mixed success will give you a decent set, and then a success will give you like an additional bonus.
Okay.
So roll it up.
All right, here we go. You're
You can do
better
it. I
than-
believe in you.
Can I make items for more than one person?
Yeah, you're going to be doing a team roll right now, so it's
Okay.
going to count for everybody's gear.
Here we go. It all starts with the bone selection process. You got to pick the best bones. You don't want those cream bones. You want real sturdy bones. The bonier, the better. All right, here we go.
The creaky bones.
No.
I love it. I fucking love it. I want Puck to make us the ugliest, fucking least functional, unwearable shit that we can have. I love this bit of our universe. I love it. Let's hear it.
Here, let me give you the stats, and then you'll tell us what they look like. So that was a full fail?
No, that's a 7.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
That's fine.
good.
So here's how they work. They provide one armor for you. It does not stack. So if you already have armor, it will not add an additional armor to it. But you can use them to completely negate your first interaction with the lava spit. You will essentially be cashing in your armor to save yourself from any harm and all of your gear from being damaged. So that's what you get with a partial success. So you have it until you want to, and you can make the decision to not, like, if you want to just like get hit with some acid and keep the bone armor, you're welcome to it. What do they look like?
Yeah, what do they look like?
Okay, so who wants to go first?
Oh, I can't even hide my. Absolutely, I do.
Hag's armor is most notably what looks like sort of a pterodactyl head, like a long skull that just seems absolutely unwieldy, with these sort of like oval eyes that Puck made too large so that he wouldn't lose peripheral vision.
It's very heavy, so if I like turn my head slightly, I kind of.
But it protects the nape of his neck and, his moneymaker. So
I imagine myself looking kind of like that Silent Hill triangle head creature. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, all right.
Terrifying.
But as a pterodactyl head and much clumsier and goofier and really not scary at all.
Like a little kid
Or like
put on a
Beetlejuice
hat
when he
that's too
pulls
big for him.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm more the
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, but yeah.
Beetlejuice, yeah.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it.
For Rex, he fashioned like a big bone shield that looks like there was sort of a softer bone, and then he just smushed a bunch of other bones in there for like decorative purposes. But it has some awkward things like a hand bone, like kind of clawing its way out, and like a foot with like the middle toe up just a little bit, and yeah, a collarbone, and some bird wings, and some bird nests.
I hope somebody draws this.
And for Bryn?
And for Bryn, Puck really thought that Bryn was, as a very fashionable person, so she would only wear something that was fashionable. So he spent twice as much time trying to make it, so he only got halfway done with it. So like, right down the middle, there's like this really nice, like sort of like what looks like lacquered breastplate and like a little shoulder bone. And then he just ended up, and it like slats down the legs and then just straps to go around the other side. So he really suggests, tried to put it on her non-dominant side so she could aim the staff and sort of have, her shielding.
Yes. Half armor, I love it.
Cool, you're armed up. You get to negate one instance of lava spit. Any other?
I think while this is happening, I'm kind of off in a corner. And Rex, I don't think, is a terribly sentimental type and doesn't usually keep things that don't have some kind of function to them. But she has kept the handle from that dagger that she got from Tara where the blade disintegrated. And she's been trying to make a new blade out of bone for it.
Cool. Okay. Roll plus charm.
I think my charm is a negative.
Mine too, my friend.
Mine as well.
No, it's a 6.
That's okay. You're gonna mark an experience. You're not gonna have a blade yet. It is a work in progress, and you are finding it very difficult. But you do, in the pouch that you've been keeping it in, kind of collect the pieces you think will be necessary to make, like the aesthetic that you're going for with this bone. You will have enough to continue this process, which, as you want, you will be able to roll plus charm to keep working on it at any time that we're in like a campfire mode.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
While Bryn is talking to Zeem about the Sammy serpents, I take a couple, 3 skewers, little Sammy skewers, Sammy kebabs, and I find Rex and Puck sitting together around a little campfire, and I hand them each one. After a moment of kind of nodding our heads, looking at each other, I don't quite know how to broach it. I just say, so, Bryn is terrified of hurting us. And we're here to support her and enable her to do what she wants to do. And I just feel like sometimes we're holding her back. I don't know. I don't really have a question or a point here. I just wanted to talk to you guys about it. It makes, I don't know, I want to be able to empower her, and I want to be able to support her, and I want to be able to push her to be the freaking superhero that she is. And she cares so deeply, and she's so compassionate, and I don't know, I worry that we're all going to put her in danger because she's not going to feel comfortable using that awesome source of power because of us. And I know, I mean, Puck, you're seemingly indestructible. Rex, you're the most badass person I've ever met. I've got some weirdness, but I'm rather flimsy. I don't know. I guess I don't know what to do.
Well, Tag, think of it like this. She has 3 people around her that trust her, and she is a hero.
Yeah.
She is a summoner, and I
Yeah.
can't think of 3 better candidates for her to build her confidence around, so that in the future, should she be around innocent people, she knows that she can use her powers without doing harm to them. Maybe we can make a transition into being suspenders. So
Okay.
instead of holding her back, we hold her up.
That's nice. I like that a lot.
And I tear off a hunk of my kebab and I say, listen, she's one of the few people in power I've ever met who seems to give a shit about any of the people that she works with. So I'm not going to worry too hard about it. I think she's doing what she needs to do.
Plus,
Well, thanks for letting me talk.
you seem to help her out a lot. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think as long as you're around, we've got double safety.
And as he says that, I remember the premonition I had where I saw the body on the ground in the castle, in the throne room, the summoner's body, and I feel a twang of guilt for having not mentioned it to anyone, and I still don't mention anything now.
Bryn, I feel like you heard this conversation. I think that your conversation with Zim was pretty brief, and you circled back around to find your friends, and they were sitting off away from the Tyne around a small campfire in which the light of the festivities was no longer cascading because those bodies of the elementals were not near them. And I think that you recognized in their posture that they were having a private conversation, and you were about to turn away when you heard your name and crept a little bit closer. So I think it would be much more interesting if you had heard this conversation. Then if you would like to, depart or slink away or approach the group, you are more than welcome to. But your facial expressions as the player were so perfect that I was internalizing that as you, as Bryn, experiencing it. And so I think it was just a quiet moment that you caught. And so you guys curl up on the ground. The Tyne have completely taken apart their village to make tables, and they don't really seem interested in putting them back together to make houses. So they do make sure that your fire is lit all night, and you get a good night's sleep. When you awake, you find them all gathered along the edge of the cliff on which their village sits, and they are swaying side to side, not in unison, but as though a wave is cascading through them and back. And they are all standing at the very edge of the cliff, 2 or 3 rows deep, staring at the sunset and just watching the continuum rise up into the sky. And it's pretty quiet. Some of them are humming. It does not seem to be any kind of tune that is making its way through the group. It's more of a personal expression or an idleness that is manifesting in song. And you watch with these sand-crusted eyes as they experience the sunrise for a very long time. And then when the continuum's up, they're like, hey, all right, we're live! And then they bop around and start doing their Tyne stuff, which really is kind of a weird morning ritual. They don't seem to eat or sleep or need water. They just exist. And so they immediately break off into these little social cliques and start kind of just hovering around and talking and gossiping. Many of them just walk out into the desert, some of them in small groups, some of them alone, and they just walk out into the desert. They seem to know exactly where they're going, and they leave. And Zim approaches you and says, what's up, my dudes? We're alive!
Yay!
I'd be happy to see you off on your mission. I will take you as far as I feel comfortable going, which isn't very far at all, you understand. But if you gather your things, we can be on our way as soon as you're ready.
I put on the helmet, take a couple steps, look around, see that no one else has put on their bone gear yet. Take off the helmet.
He has assembled 4 packs for you. They're not really packs. They're more like strange wrappings of like ancient peeled bark. You get the impression that maybe some of it came off of the lumber that you'd seen in the pyre last night. There hasn't been any trees on this planet, so you don't know where they would have gotten this wood. But they're just like these bundles, and in them there are skins that have been filled up with what you know to be, at this point, even though it's just a small pouch, a substantial amount of that water, as one sip goes a long way. And there's just some dried Sammy serpents in there as well. And then
It's the lembas bread of water.
The lembas bread of water. And there's these small stones. Each of you has a handful of them, maybe 4 or 5, and they have carved into them. This time, Puck, you recognize this was not done by human hands and would have been done with probably the very finger of the Tyne themselves, more of the glyphs that you saw as part of their language. And they are just tucked into these pouches as well. And Zim says, let's hit the bricks! And he leads you out into the desert. So, this is the way this is going to work. You guys are going to fight this thing. That is happening right now. It can happen in whatever way that you would like it to, and I will allow you a short discussion to decide how and where you would like to set up in order to get it. Where you would like this battle to take place.
Are there any sandstone patches anywhere?
There'd be, within reason, anything you want geographically. Your palette is the desert that you know, but you have seen large fields of sand, you have seen many dunes, you have seen cliffs, sandstone structures, obelisks that have risen out of the ground. You've seen all of these things. So it can be anything that you want. And you will have time to each decide what you would like to do in preparation of this fight. You've fought stuff before. This thing's going to be big, but I think that you're going to just choose the time and the place, and then we're going to drop this creature in, and we're going to see how you guys handle it.
Cool.
And we don't have Zim, right? He's going to leave us to do...
Seems like no, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Wait, but I want to go up to Zim before we depart.
Okay?
And I'm going to look at him and I'm going to say, hey,
Yeah.
I thought you were really scary my whole growing up, and come to find out, I think you're pretty great. And if it's okay, I would like to give my family's customary farewell.
Absolutely. My skin will disintegrate yours. Is there a shape I can assume that would make this easier?
Did you meet my father?
I believe so. It would have been in a time where we were preoccupied with several of the things that were happening out in the desert, but I have met all of the primary figures of your family, though I've only spent time with your mother and grandmother. I do recall your father being distant, seemingly confused in the gatherings of the elders, but otherwise enjoyable. Why do you ask?
Could you take his form?
Boom. You see the smoke and fire curl around him, and as it pulls away, your father is standing in front of you. And you feel that itch in your memory as Zim starts to extract details of your dealings with him. Refresh me, Jesse, the little bit we've discussed, if we discussed anything.
I didn't meet him. He died before I was born.
Cool.
So I've
Okay.
only seen a painting of him.
Okay, yeah, so Zima assumes a form that he knows from meeting your father, And when itching through your memories, what he latches onto are feelings. Because you do not have a memory of your father, you only have the idealization or the opposite of that of him. So what do you think of when you think of your father?
Large, like strong.
As you say these, or as you think these things, Zim grows 2 inches and his shoulders broaden.
Kind of a curiosity and a slyness in his eyes, even though they're super warm.
Mm-hmm.
And what I hope would be this welcoming, loving person that I was always told was such a wonderful counter to, or a partner to my mother. So just the ideal father, like, that I never had.
Your father says you've come to say goodbye?
Come to say hello, and if you could wish me luck.
He grabs or extends his arm in a greeting that is unique to your planet, and it is the opposite of when this happens. You extend the mirrored arm, and the two of you just create half of a carriage, and you make this a very intense eye contact. And he leans forward and places his forehead against yours. And with that, he says, very quietly, well, I guess you're gonna do fine. And then he backs up, and Zim, in the most polite version of this that you have seen, allows this illusion to peel away from its body, and says, okay, well, I'd really like to see you all again, but the rest is up to you. And he just turns around and disappears back into the desert.
Whew, okay.
Oh, so
Yeah,
pretty.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Ooh.
What time? 7:40.
Seven.
Okay, let's make some plans right now. I think it's hard to abstract just a weird part of the desert. So you guys want to fight this thing? Just tell me any preparations that you want to make, and we'll make the landscape suit them.
I think having a bit of sandstone nearby, so people who don't want to worry about getting consumed from beneath would have a place to stand. That just seems like it gives us at least somewhat equal footing against it, even though some of us will likely have to be on the sand to fight it.
Sure.
And
You
you can walk
guys-
a little farther into the desert and maybe even find a place that has two, so that we aren't all forced to clump up together.
You guys actually come across a very fortuitous place. There's a cliff that you follow, and tucked into what would be like an inlet in it, the dunes flatten out, and you find a nice secluded place ringed with dunes on one side, cliffs on the other, and a very flat playing field of sand. And in it, there are 5 different sandstone slabs of varying heights. You will not be able to jump from one to the next, but the run... Unless you got 6 ass stunts!
Ride her coattails.
You will be able to easily move from one to the other while crossing open ground. Okay, you got your playing field.
Let it be true that I asked Zim what these rocks are before he left.
He says that they are, the definition he gives, the sandstone or the...
No, the little rune pebbles.
he says that they are
Yeah.
good luck charms, but when he does so, there's a glint of mischief in his eye.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to do with them?
I want to interact with him just a little bit, kind of running them in my hands, seeing if I can feel anything from them.
They appear to be enchanted. In what fashion, you cannot necessarily tell. But they...
Put one in my mouth.
What color is it?
Green.
You get the taste of fresh cut grass.
Yummy. You suddenly flash back to me shoving the weed in your mouth to sober you up.
I noticed her doing that. What are you doing?
Oh, I just wanted to see if they were poisonous, I guess.
Are they snakes?
Are they?
Oh, this one tastes like grass. I don't know about the rest of them.
I take
pull out a blue one and I put that in my mouth.
You get very cold.
Goodness. Well, shoot, I grab a red one and put it in my mouth. I don't want to be left out.
You can feel that hunger inside you that wants to consume this entire planet. Height.
I just want to ask Jesse out of game real quick, Casey, unless I'm cutting you off.
Well, I have to grab yellow, obviously.
You feel your entire body start to have static electricity, and as Tupac is very companionable, you know, he's going around and like checking out what everybody's doing and putting his hands on people. It's like pop, pop, pop.
So out of game, as you were presumably designing these little rune rocks, at what point in that process were you like, I bet the first thing they're going to do is just put them in their mouths? Like the bunch of fucking 8-year-olds that they are.
It's hard to answer that because I didn't know these things existed until I decided that Zeem was going to give you guys a pack, and I didn't know Zeem was going to give you guys a pack until you were setting out in the day. And so when I threw those things in, I figured if I put some glyphs on them, you guys would try and fuck with them. I didn't have any idea for them. So until Rex decided to put that in her mouth, I hadn't defined it.
Wait, these were in a pack? These weren't on the ground?
No.
Oh.
You just like
Like he
eating
gave us
stuff
each,
off
like, a
the
little-
ground, Bryn.
I don't eat stuff off the ground. When have I done that?
All right, we spend in game 20 minutes trying different combinations in each other's mouths,
Yeah.
just passing them back and forth.
At some point in this tag, you flip over to the phase state, and you see that they are glowing the corresponding elements that you would imagine them to have these effects on you.
Right.
They seem to just be little batteries. You don't know what kind of power they're packing, but they have curious effects, and that might be the mischievous grid. It doesn't seem like you've been handed hand grenades, but it does seem to be something, a good luck charm.
I try to put the yellow one, the blue one, and the purple one in my mouth at the same time, and I throw up violently for about 20 seconds.
All right, so you got your place. Is there any preparations any of you want to make? You will be able to examples of things you could do, and I don't know what you guys want to do. Like you could create a trap, you could set up an ambush, you could coordinate a series of things that will happen upon this creature's arrival. If you're going to go to the trouble of setting up a series of events, I will deliver that entrance to you in order to let those happen. It will not be a guaranteed success, but you will have exactly what you need to enact your planning. So is there anything you would like to do? You found what appears to be an ideal place to hunt tremors for all you Tremors 2 fans out there.
2, not 1.
Which we've established are plenty.
So it seems like it may be advantageous for us to create a scenario where we can get the Elder Viper to
Sammy Serpent, please.
The Sammy Serpent.
Yeah.
to come above ground and stay above ground for as long as possible so that we can interact with it. Perhaps there's some way that by luring it partway onto one of the sand flats, maybe the giant scorpion could help us drag it out of the ground so that we could more consistently interact with it as a unified team as opposed to letting it withdraw, since it seems like it sounds like we may need to figure out some way to aggravate the creature so that it doesn't withdraw. There's not really
I would say that also let it be true that Rex has created I don't know what they're called, but you know how snake handlers have
That like hook?
the stick with the I don't know, I want to say like belt on it.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Sure.
that I've created a giant one of those
Okay, here's how we'll
that
do
I
that.
hope will work.
Rex's entire planning situation will go towards making one of those things that would be large enough to interact with the creature you suspect. You are going to roll. You're tough. You'd be using muscles to lift heavy pieces and put it all together. You're going to roll plus tough, just straight plus tough.
That is a 10.
Okay, with a 10 plus, you remember that what would be most difficult about this thing, if it's glassing sand that it's going through, is creating something that could withstand heat long enough to keep it in this. And so you spend a lot of your time like going into caves, finding like petrified wood, slabs of rock, old bone from creatures that look to be like whale size that might have, you know, who knows, like you just create this strange contraption. You will have to be able to roll to use it, but if we're setting up a scenario in which the first thing that happens is we draw the snake out, Rex will have an opportunity to keep it above ground. Is there any other preparations you guys want to make?
Is there any way to set up almost like alarms along the landscape so we know where exactly it's going to come up?
Sure. Puck can tell you that, having it so fresh on his memory, the two of you could create glyphs in the sand using this old language. Your ability to imbue things with elemental magic and Puck's ability to translate this language, you can make glyphs in the sand that will not do much else other than puff smoke when they are disturbed. And you're able, Bryn spends her time creating a perimeter of an alarm that will allow you to know when this thing is going to strike. Tag?
When are we calling out the E04 calling out this? Tag just kind of got the taste of danger when he was inside the Jenga tower, and I think is ready to offer himself as bait if that's going to help as part of this plan.
Yeah, you can spend most of your time running drills between these platforms so that you know what the best route is to cross the sand and get back onto a platform.
Great.
And so what we'll say is you will be able to have a free success the first time you want to lead the snake anywhere you want to go when it arrives. And from then on, you will have an ongoing +1 anytime you need to act under pressure to move around the battlefield.
Okay.
And the whole time he's running back and forth, I keep catching him with my snare. It's really not necessary for my practice. It's just fun to see him kind of be like, ah!
You will have a +1 the first time you use the snare.
Okay.
Every time she does it, I forget that it's happened before. It always so surprises me. It's please. It's very fun. Rex, it is truly very funny, but please, I'm trying to run these drills. Okay, just I think that we're up against a pretty tough opponent.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I immediately
Okay.
release him, and then he runs for 2 feet, and I catch him again.
Ha! Yeah, damn it.
That leaves us with Puck. Is there anything you would like to spend your time doing?
I think I'd like to try to figure out some of this water Eric's imbuement that the professor gave me. It seems like this might be a good time to test the waters, so to speak.
Sure. It seems like it is a direct enchantment on your natural weapons. You could use it as a reaction to create a water barrier around yourself, but it will tap the ability for, like in probably like 3 turns, something like that. But right now you would have an on. You can use when you decide to click it on. You're always void as your default. If you decide to let the water into your new beast claws, you will be dealing elemental water damage. And because you spend time here figuring that out, you know that you can change it into a barrier if you need to as a reaction. So if there's an incoming attack, you can change it into a water barrier, and you also get a +1 the first time that you attack using your water claws.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Rex.
I have a question, just to clarify. So this Sammy serpent is not native to this, like this big. Is this what the product of what's going on with the planet, similar to the scorpion?
You're sitting there meditating on this beast. Roll investigate a mystery.
Okay. 10.
Oh
wait, no.
I think
8. Sorry.
so. You get 2 questions of the W's that we've explored. I think that you're going around after you and Puck spend some time together making these glyphs. You say like, I got it from here, and you're going around in a circle making them, stepping quietly on the sand, thinking about this. Ask your questions.
I have to be a W question?
Yes.
What is this creature?
You would find a lot of similarities between it and the scorpion that you faced on Void. Or sorry, Bloom. You have not seen this thing yet, right? Or have you?
No, we haven't seen it.
You just-
We've seen it underground.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you haven't seen it, but from what you've heard and from the way that the Tyne in particular discussed it, you would suspect that it is similar to an elder creature, almost a pure representation of the energy of the planet, put into beast form. So it is not a creature that would live and there'd be other of them and they would breed, but it would be native to this planet in the sense that it is made of this planet.
Okay.
You get 1 more question.
Okay. Why is it here?
Again, the answers to these questions are coming from what I think your character would know, and I'm not just going to deliver God knowledge to you, like narrator God knowledge. I think that your logical jump would be to continue examining your experience with the scorpion. That seemed to be tied to the event that opened the rift, and everything that happened afterwards was a result of that. The creature, as you know, the scorpion, as you know, was a byproduct of opening the rift, but then deliberately chained and siphoned to power a reactor by the company.
Right.
So it was created when a rift was opened up.
Okay.
And a very powerful form of magic escaped into your world. And so if this serpent is similar to the scorpion, it could follow that logic too.
Okay.
Hey, Rex.
Yeah.
So, grabbing me with your little... Okay, yes.
He's hanging in the air for this conversation.
Wait a minute. That's a great... You are incredibly strong. You can lift me with this thing.
Yeah, you're very small.
Well, I'm proportional.
Sorry, you're not small. You're just very light.
I'm petite.
You don't have a lot of mass. Like you're not very dense. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not very...
Thank you.
Okay. Look, when this thing's coming, I'm going to set myself right in the center of our stones. If you want to have me in your hook, I have to imagine if it's attacking from below, like we saw with that drill out in the expanse, as it comes up, if you want to just, fishing rod me right up, I feel like that would be how we get it out of the ground, and ideally have me not end up in its stomach right away.
I mean, it does have a quick release, so if I were able to maneuver quickly enough to kind of fling you out of the way and then try and snare it, that could work. You might get flung.
I lean in closer. So, look, those stunts were so sick, and I know that that's your thing. I'm really not trying to crimp your style, but actually, if you maybe didn't fling me, I could I don't know, ride it maybe. Just drop. It would come up. I would just drop down. I could just land on its head and surf the snake. Is that stupid? If that's stupid, we don't have to do that, but I would like to do that.
I mean, you might die.
Well,
But
yeah, I think
if
we've
you
all
had
made
tried
that
it-
bargain coming into this.
Great.
You're down?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Should I say anything when, like, would you say like a cool catchphrase or something?
Doing the thing is usually the cool catchphrase for me.
You're right. I won't say a cool catchphrase. That would be stupid. I'll just do the thing.
I mean, you could yell, I'm
No,
doing
I'm
the
not gonna.
thing!
I'll just be. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. You ready?
Or like, look at me do the thing!
No.
Okay. All right, so here's what's up. You're going to hit this thing in the golden hour. It's just going to be a little bit less hot, and you're going to feel a little bit more energized. So we know that tag is going to be set up in the sand, a little bit away from the stones. We've got a perimeter of an alarm that's going to let you guys know what's up. We've got Rex stationed on her snake and tag catching crane. Bryn, Puck, before we begin, where would you like to be? We're going to abstract the geometry, so I'm not going to have a grid in front of me. I'm not going to really be tracking your movements. We'll just go with what seems reasonable, but more of like a sense of where you would like to be. Would you like to be ready to strike when the snake is out, or would you prefer to be farther back?
I'll be ready to strike.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going to become crucial for this, though, is for us to track who's on sand, who's on rocks. So are you guys on sand or rocks when this starts?
Oh.
I think I'm on a rock. Like,
You're on a rock,
leaning
tag's on
over
sand.
the sand. Yeah.
I'm gonna stay somewhat closer to tag.
All right, so you can be on the closest rock to him.
Sure.
Okay, so you will be within melee range of the snake if it breaches where we think it's gonna. And then Puck, where you want to be?
I would like to be on the stones. I suppose that was my idea. So
Okay,
probably what you would do.
sure. All right, so you guys are set up. I think that the question of Tag doing 6 stunts or not is kind of the last conversation that happens. Bryn returns from carving the alarm into the ground, and everybody takes their position, and Tag is left standing in the middle of an expanse of sand. You can't see very far in either direction because you're in this little bowl-shaped area, dunes on one side, cliff on the other, and Tag's just standing there, and that adrenaline that he had carrying him into this very daring thing lasts for as long as it can, but 3 hours go by, 4 hours go by, and he's just standing out there in the middle of the desert. But there is a moment in which you hear a pop in the distance, and you see a puff of smoke. It is, like you made a perimeter of maybe 2 or 3 different distances of runes. This would have been the farthest. Very short amount of time, a second pop, and then a third as the other puffs of smoke come. And then you see, exploding out of the dunes that create the other shape of this bowl, a 10-foot wide Sammy serpent.
Oh, God.
It is covered in what looks like bleached bone armor that almost has been fashioned for it. It does not look like a part of its being. It looks like it's been made to wear this battle armor. Underneath are these black-red scales that are just roiling with heat. And as this thing explodes out of the dune in front of you, all of the sand liquefies and turns to glass so that shards of it are sticking into the sand around Tag. His eyes go wide, and your plan goes into motion. So Tag takes off towards the rocks. The serpent actually dives into the sand as though it's water and chases him from below ground, glassing the sand above it and creating a tunnel. Tag is sprinting towards the rocks, and at the last second, he jumps into Rex's catcher. The snake breaches and flies through the air. What do you do?
Me?
Yeah, you said that you wanted to be in her thing?
Yeah, I'm just in the middle of the sand. She's just got it around me. I'm wearing it.
Okay, so yeah, you are in a position now where she can pull you up.
Yeah.
I do that.
Pulls me right into the air, loosens it at the zenith of my altitude. The snake is Coming up to chomp me?
Coming up to chomp you.
Great. I yell a sweet fucking catchphrase like, you're gonna have to be an earlier bird than, well, you're the worm. Wake up, bird. Fuck. Come up with this. And I want to land, if I can, right on the thing's head and just sort of like an ice pick secure my place there with my tonfa.
Sure. You're going to roll Act Under Pressure.
It's cool, right?
Yes.
10.
What you're doing? Very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. You do exactly what you say. With a full success, you land squarely onto this thing's helmet. It's smooth on the top and then flares out in these spikes on the side. You land cleanly on the smooth part and stick your tonfa in. The bone is hot, but not too hot. You can tell that if you had landed on the scales, you would have taken some fire damage.
Right.
The thing is just radiating heat. But you are now on top of the Sammy Serpent with your tonfa stuck into its bone helmet. Rex, you have just released Tag. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna try and snare its head without also damaging Tag in the process.
Cool. This is going to be an Act Under Pressure, and because it's the first time you use this and you spent time using it, you get an additional +1.
You got it, Rex. You got it.
I really want this to succeed. Okay. Okay, that one's canted. I feel like I should roll it again.
Roll it.
Yeah. Cocked eye.
It was pretty. It was not
You know,
terrible
if you
though.
really-
Oh no!
You've got luck. Don't forget, if it's important to you, don't worry about me. You do whatever the fuck you want to me. But if it in a fun, like I really want it sense, you've got luck.
What did you roll, Rex?
5.
You snare this thing and yank it off of its course as it's breaching and pull it sideways so that it smashes into one of your rock platforms. But in doing so, the construction of your device was not as solid as you thought it would, and it is ripped apart and you are flung 10 feet into the sand. You are now on open ground and your catcher is laying, it is still attached to the creature and hanging off of it, but it has been broken where you cannot use it. Puck.
I, inspired by Tag's attempt at a line, I transformed both of my fists into like spiked mace balls,
Yeah.
and I say, "Welcome to the party. Have some spiked punch." And then I charge the Sammy Serpent and do a full attack with imbued water and try to just get this party started.
Sure.
Continue.
You get an additional +1 because it's the first time you're whopping this thing.
That is a 10.
Okay. It's going to be a straight kick smash roll. So with that, you're going to deal full damage to the creature. Now, I made some notes here that are important in this moment. So forgive me. What is the damage of your claw strike?
So with all the things totaled, it's 4, and I have a special ignore armor bonus.
Cool.
That's
That
it.
is-
That's a solid first hit.
Yeah, especially because this thing is weak to water, so any water deals double damage. And because you're bypassing armor, you're not going to have to deal with that. You smack this thing as it smashes into the rock, which you are standing on top of, and you bring both hands down and just crush it right in the part of its face that is not covered by the helmet. Your fist maces actually swing right by Tag, and you pulverize this thing, and it takes a full 8 damage.
Whoa!
Dang.
You are now standing right next to it.
Yes, I am.
Bryn, what would you like to do?
I would like to pull on some elemental wind and I'm going to whistle into it a very haunting tune, and I'm going to swirl it around the serpent to hopefully hypnotize it for a moment so that Tag can then make a strike and get off of it safely.
Okay. You're going to roll 2 things. The first is very simple. It just is something I need. You're going to roll plus weird.
Okay. 10.
Okay. So you're going to cast your spell. Roll use magic, which is just another plus weird, but there's going to be some specifics we got to deal with.
Okay. That's boxcars. 14.
Okay, cool. So what you've done, you're creating a wind effect that's going to hypnotize it, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm going to whistle into it so it hears this tune.
Okay, cool. It works, and so for 1 full round, this creature will not be taking any actions. It is still dazed from Puck's clobbering, and in its attempt to regain its composure, it is having trouble because of this effect. The wind seems to be spinning faster and faster as the spell goes on, and the circle it is making is compressing around the snake. Which brings us back to Tag.
Great. I'd like to take out my tonfa, but just kind of get a finger hold there in the hole so I'm still on this thing.
You got it.
Maybe I imagine the plates of armor kind of being aligned along with its vertebra, so it's got a headpiece and then a chunk. Maybe just drop down to the next one. I know that I can't touch it, but I want to see if I can, if this is constructed armor, whatever is holding it together, if I can cut that away and kind of cut its helmet off of it.
Sure. Are you trying to be more dexterous, or are you trying to break it? Are you trying to figure out the way that the plates are connected, or are you trying to break them apart?
I imagine that there's, like some hinge, some string or something connecting them, not like twine, but whatever the ancient bone armor viper version of that is.
Yeah. It does look to be constructed, and so there are all of the things that you would expect from having to put something like this together. And as you're fiddling with it, you can clearly see now that it is not connected to the serpent at all, other than the way that it is fastened to it. It's not been grown out of this creature. You're
I'm looking for a weakness and looking to snip.
Sure. You find it, you're just going to act under pressure and able to capitalize on it while riding this thing. It's not on the move now, but it is still writhing in pain.
Okay, 8.
Cool. So you are going to be able to disconnect the armor, but in doing so, you are going to get caught up in it. And you feel like it will be a little bit difficult for you to get off of the serpent when you'd like to. But you disconnect a piece of it. It is still wearing the helmet, but you see that the armor is sliding off of its body and starting to fall apart. And you can tell mechanically that it's lost 1 armor.
Just in the headpiece, or they're connected in a way that they're all kind of shimmering off?
That's how it's happening. Like, you pulled some piece, and so the vertebrae pieces that you described are starting to, come apart.
Okay, well, I'm
so
going to
it's
try to
still
stay on. If there's a piece of armor that is not falling off, I am trying to stay on top of the armor. I'm not trying to run.
You got helmets. But what's happened is, in fiddling with the armor, your clothes have the one piece of clothing that is still intact on your body, which is your cool wrapped tunic, has gotten tangled up in the armor. So you're on it, you're going to have trouble getting off.
Cool.
Okay. Which brings us back to Rex.
Alright, so I've been knocked back 10 feet, so I'm a little ways away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking is I go into a dead sprint to get back to where I was before, and I pick up the shield that Puck built for me. And I'm operating under the idea that, alright, well, these 2 armors look pretty similar, so I might be able to break that snake's armor with this. And so from a dead sprint, I pick it up and then discus throw it at the snake, trying to hit that spot where I see that Tag has loosened its armor.
Sure. Roll kick some ass.
Alley fucking oop, baby.
Come on, baby. 9.
Okay. You throw the discus, and it connects with the snake. It does not seem to damage the armor anymore, but you are able to hit it where it is unarmored, and you deal 2 damage. Its armor does not negate any of that, so you deal a full 2 damage. It's an improvised weapon, you know, partial success. You did deal some damage. And with that, the shield clatters away and gets lost in this pile as its armor continues to just shed off of it as it thrashes around. Bryn, right? Puck.
Well, continuing in the same vein and the same line of one-linery, Puck raises his fists and says, "It's a 2-drink minimum."
Right. The only thing that I don't like about this is that I genuinely spent the second half of our planning session trying to come up. Like, my idea wasn't, oh, I'll make a shitty line. I was like, I want Tag to have a good one, and you just came up with 2, you bastard.
You're gonna kick some ass.
That's a natural boxcar, so that's like a 15.
Yeah, okay, so you're dealing 8
Yes.
damage a pop, right?
Yeah, he does.
4 damage, and then it's doubling.
Okay, yeah.
2-drink minimum. That's so good. God damn it. That's so good. Ugh.
The Sammy Serpent isn't looking too hot. It has now regained its composure and is starting to try and go back underground. Bryn.
You said it didn't like water?
It didn't. No.
Or I noticed that it doesn't like water from what Puck's doing.
Right.
So I'll finally pull out my staff and I'm going to call on elemental water and try to make a lake around it to try to keep it from going through the water
Okay.
and the sand.
You're gonna be able to try and access water, but you saw Zeem have to wring it out of.
Oh.
So I think a lake is ambitious. If you would like to try and weaponize it, you're welcome to, but you feel when you're reaching out for this element that there ain't a lot of it.
Shoot.
You've got like your pouches that you're carrying with you, but even then that would be a bucket full combined. So you're welcome to try and use water, but I'm just saying like the extent to which you're trying to use it.
Which I'm trying to use it. I mean, the only other thing I could do is to try to gauge where it's trying to go under and create a solid barrier with the sand.
Okay, yeah. You're just gonna roll your barrier spell.
Okay.
So roll plus weird.
Okay. 13.
Okay, cool. You are going to create a barrier, and as it starts to... Sorry, I forgot. Will you roll an additional plus weird? This is separate.
12.
Okay, cool. So what you see is that the spinning wind and whistle that you've created has now become like a dust devil that's starting to pull itself over towards the snake. It goes to go under and bounces off of this barrier that you've created and beaches into the sand, having to swivel around and go. But you also see that when it did, that stone you created cracked and is starting to shake and move as though being pulled by a magnet. And it and the dust devil seem to be going in the same direction, which is towards the snake. So there's like this little ant trail of pebbles that's breaking off of your barrier and being pulled through the sand, and the wind that you created is also moving now towards the serpent.
So it's like the barrier. The elemental magic is going to it.
It does have a similar effect, but when you were casting magic, it didn't seem to be grabbing it out of the air. You also did roll 2 very good rolls, which might have affected how it was affecting your magic.
Okay.
Which brings us back around to Tag.
Okay. Well, I have some ideas, but it actually hasn't attacked us yet, so I'm going to just do a very simple, just bladed Tafa kind of strike right down at the top of the head.
Okay. You're going to roll kick some ass.
And if you, Jesse, I don't actually have the stats for that weapon in front of me.
I got him right in front of me here.
Great. 9.
Okay. Does it do anything?
Nah.
Yeah,
I
not
think
just
it's
a
a
weapon.
really
It
relevant situation.
it does 2 harm and it bypasses armor. And it is magical. And so, you slice it in the head. And it whips around, and a spray, you rolled a 9?
Correct.
A spray of that lava issues from its mouth as it tries to whip around and see Tag, but because Tag is on its head, it merely whips around and casts the lava out in a wide arc. And you all see this spray of lava shoot out towards you. Everybody roll act under pressure. If anybody has a full failure, please let me know.
Myself included.
Not you, you're on its head.
I'm on its head.
12.
11.
Okay?
6.
Okay.
Sorry, buddy.
Here's what's interesting. Puck, did you make bone armor for yourself?
I did.
What was
did
it?
it look like? We never got a description.
Yeah, we moved on.
My bad. What does
It's
it look like?
So it looks like a series of wind chimes. So he got too interested in trying to impress Bryn with his style, and it basically just looks like a bunch of imagine like a bird cage, like one of those bell bird cages without the bottoms, just like unceremoniously placed so it's like a skirt and then a hat and over the shoulders and
But kind of like those copper head massagers.
yeah, exactly.
I love those things.
You know, the most upsetting part about skipping over that, beyond just having to live with the bad friend and player move of skipping your moment like that, is that we didn't get to spend the last hour imagining everything happening with Puck wearing that.
True. You have in this moment the opportunity to sacrifice that armor to negate this instance of lava.
That's what it's for.
Okay, so this stuff washes over you and you turn to put the armor first. And you see that it just disintegrates, just melts right off of you. And the few places that the lava comes in contact with you burns little holes into your crystals. It is not painful and it causes you no harm, but you see firsthand what that splash would have done to you, because unlike these other humans who are wearing gear that they can just shed, your body is your clothes. And so, yeah, you found out, but you are saved from all harm. You are now down bone armor.
Yeah.
You just have the tatters of a skirt, a wind chime skirt around your waist.
All right. The favorite
Highlander.
guilt.
The guilt.
A guilt. All right, so that means, who are we at? I've lost track. Is it Bryn?
We're at Rex, I think.
Rex.
Yeah.
Rex.
Okay.
Oh, because Tag
So-
just caused that. All that shit. Got it.
Right. So is right around the snake, is that all glass or is that still sand?
Right now, that seems to be more of an aesthetic, and so there's just crystallized sand. There can be as much of the glass as you'd like if you have something in mind, but it's not counting
I
as
was thinking
anything.
of doing a 6 slide. That's
Oh
what I was
fuck
thinking
yeah!
of
There's
doing,
enough
yeah.
glass for a 6 slide. It's perfectly contoured as it, because it bows up as the snake passes, and then as it sinks back down, it's a little burnt. So yeah, do some 6 stunts. Where are you trying to get?
I'm trying to get it so it's kind of turned to spew this lava,
Mhm.
and so it's kind of exposed a little bit of its underbelly that's not armored. So what I'm trying to do is do a 6 slide, and I pulled out Graflex and kind of do, slice it as I slide on by.
Yeah. You're gonna roll 6 stunts first.
And that's plus tough.
Yes. Yes. I believe.
That is a 10.
Okay, cool. You do a sick stunt, my dude. And you are now sliding towards the serpent. Tag is hanging there, holding onto the helmet, having just pierced it, and it whipped its head around. You've seen acid spraying everywhere, lava spraying everywhere, and now you're going to take a swing with Graflex. You're going to roll kick some ass, plus tough.
Alright. That is a 7.
7, okay.
Yeah.
So, you guys are going to deal damage to each other. What does Graflex do?
4 harm.
Okay. You have an ability that allows you to deal additional damage when fighting corrupted creatures, right? We found out that you had that. It's called what is it? I know my prey.
Oh, yeah.
And so in the past, Nightmare Crabs, the Elder Scorpion, they all triggered this ability in which it brought back that memory of when your entire village was destroyed, and you've been able to deal additional damage. Now that you're looking at this thing up close, it doesn't smell corrupted. It doesn't look corrupted. It just looks like a mythical creature that is fighting you. It in no way is exhibiting the qualities that those corrupted creatures have in the past. I bring that up because of your move. You would know, like, I feel like it's an emotional thing that triggers that bonus of damage. You are righting the wrongs of your past and finally getting the opportunity to do so every time you smash something with a hammer. And in this moment, that sense memory from the smell, it ain't present. This thing ain't corrupted. And you smash it with Graflex, and you deal what ends up being 3 harm, because it still has 1 armor. But it crashes down into you and bites you for... What the fuck does this thing do? 4 harm.
Rough.
Ooh.
Yes. And it is now, in the course of doing so, I see it as kind of like smashing you into the ground. It now has you in its mouth, and it is trying to go back underground.
Right.
At that moment, you see all of those pebbles and that barrier that Bryn created and that windstorm absorb into the snake's sides, and it glows brighter. Puck. It is currently being ridden by Tag and trying to take Rex underground.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and morph the mitts into 2 hooks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to grab it from underneath so that it can't. I can try to snare it a bit so it can't pull Rex down under the sand.
Sure. For no reason in particular, describe to me exactly how you are holding on to this thing and what proximity you are to it.
I'm very close to it.
Okay.
And I guess if I could come around behind it, so like if the head were going, say, this way,
Mhm.
if I could somehow like hook it on the nostrils and try to like pull it up this way, kind of the opposite of it trying to take Rex down.
Okay. And when you are pulling it up, are you trying to keep it to you, or do you have distance?
I'm not trying to keep it to me. I'm not even trying to do anything other than basically rend backwards. So if this serpent were to have nostrils,
Mhm.
the idea would be to hook it and then just try to rip its whole front of its face off.
Okay, cool. You're gonna roll help out.
Okay.
That's a plus cool.
Got to re-roll.
Chance to die. Gotta reroll.
That is a 9.
Okay, cool. So you do what you're trying to do. You do, in fact, free Rex. She's able to roll clear as the serpent smashes then into the sand, and you are there holding it and hooked into its nostrils. But you are now stuck to the serpent. And you feel the void energy, which is your very life force, begin to drain into the serpent as it starts to glow even brighter. The longer that you are hooked into it, the faster the process becomes. And then your hands hurt, and It's because they aren't hooks anymore. They're hands. And you feel your crystal exoskeleton burn away and be absorbed completely into this serpent. To not put strange vagueness on this, Puck is not gone. He has now reverted, and Sam is now present. So Puck did not get absorbed into the serpent.
Yeah.
His corporeal presence, the energy that needs to keep him here and anchor him, was just stolen, and he reverted right back to the face state. So now Sam is clinging to this serpent and needs to roll a act under pressure.
Oh,
You know, I was hoping to see Sam. I thought it'd be a bummer to lose our giant 8 damage per punch tank, but I'm excited to see Sam.
I'm on the back of a giant death serpent. Leave it to the big meatball. What am I rolling?
You're rolling plus cool. Act under pressure.
Okay, let me take a look at Sam just here for a second, see if, just in case there's some extra numbers there. Oh, no, just regular? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, here we go. Oh. Oh.
Stretch it out.
Yeah, stretch out your hands too.
Sam
you're
is,
getting the full roll.
Sam's real squishy, guys. He's not,
But how does Sam not have like a plus 19 to cool?
he's sharp, but he
Sharp.
drinks.
Yeah, that's fair.
The Glenfiddich keeps him chilled up.
Good decision.
7.
Okay. You are able to roll out of the way in time so that the snake does not take you underground, but you do take... Just trying to keep myself... Oh, yeah, okay. So you do take 2 harm. It is elemental damage that bypasses any kind of armor that does not protect against magic.
Which I have none of, so I take the full 2 damage.
Okay. And then you roll away. You are now on open ground. Tag, you are on a serpent that is quickly trying to burrow underground. The heat that has come out around the helmet has increased tenfold. Bryn, what would you like to do?
So have I noticed that it is attracted to magic, or magic is drawn to it?
It seems to be absorbing magic.
But it doesn't seem to be drawn to it.
It has not exhibited that quality yet. It didn't even seem to be doing it on purpose.
It's just got something about it that absorbs magic.
And it was glowing brighter and getting hotter as it did.
And the only magic that didn't happen with was water.
Yeah.
And I don't have water.
You can do something with water, but it would be like a little something. You don't have a lake, you have a bullet, you know.
I know.
Yeah, we got those little stones.
Where are those? I thought those were in your backpack.
Everybody has their own little hand.
Oh, we have our own. Okay.
They got 6 flavors.
I'm gonna take... Oh shit, I'm so nervous about using magic on this thing because it doesn't seem great. I would like to take one of the stones.
Okay.
Take the red one that I tasted.
Excellent.
Yes. I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna touch my staff to it.
Okay.
Feel
There's a
like-
charge that happens. You can see magic energy transferring.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run right up to the head of the snake.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna say, "Drop my friend," and then I'm gonna throw it right at its eyeball.
The red stone?
Yep.
Okay. You're going to roll, I think, just kick some ass.
Yeah. Okay. Plus tough. Oh no!
What did you roll?
I finally failed. I rolled a 5.
Nice.
All those 12s. Importance.
Sure. So here's what happens. The stone, you failed, and so when you're dealing damage with magic, as a base effect of use magic, it only does 1 harm. There are things you can do to amplify that. But I think that Bryn was just charging up a rock and hucking what would turn into a 2 harm because her staff enhances magic and adds a +1 to any damages that it's dealt. She's chucking a 2 harm rock at the snake, and it whips up as you say, "Let go of my friend," and catches the stone in its mouth, and you can just see as it swallows it like a tic tac. And some of its injuries that you have seen heal.
Oh, no.
You threw the red stone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of its injuries heal. And it raises up into the air like a cobra, and you can see that glowing ripple along its body as it starts to climb up. And it's not even out of the sand completely yet, but it is raising 20 feet into the air, and you see the glow be drawn up into its head, and it rears back and opens that huge yawning mouth, and you see these glands in the roof of its mouth open. Whose turn is it? It's Tag, right?
Yeah.
Tag, you are on its head. You have 1 turn to do something before it is going to act. In this case, it raising up and opening its mouth is a soft move. You know that it will be followed by a hard move. You are still on its head, 20 feet in the air, clinging to its... Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to use my tonfa as a kind of pivot, a hinge. Jump from the little last piece of bone armor that's falling down it as it goes entirely vertical on towards its head, reach out, try to just jab 1 point in kind of its snout and use it to swing around and land right in the mouth.
Okay. You're going to roll, I think, just... If you're not trying to do this as an... You're getting positioning here, right?
Correct.
Yeah, act under pressure.
9.
Okay. You manage to do so, but you have to cross over parts of its body that are now broiling hot. And you're going to take 2 harm that bypasses armor.
Okay.
And you are now in its mouth.
So we think... So I'm not wearing a vest. My armor is a product of my being, of that, almost as if it's a special trait from being whatever kind of Hellboyish offspring I am.
Sure.
It would bypass that?
I'm going to give you... We're going to define something right here because it's new rules and we've never really discussed it.
Sure.
You can make a decision right now that will carry forward. And you will decide whether or not your inherent toughness applies to magic or physical damage.
Okay.
And so if you choose magic in this moment, that will not bypass it, but you will not be able to use your invincibility against physical attacks in the future.
I don't think he's a big tough guy. I think if he gets punched, he gets punched. But I do think that there is a magical element of protection there.
Sure. So, you have magic armor. You feel the heat, but you are able to fend it off with your training.
Okay.
You are now in this thing's mouth. What do you do?
I'd like to take out 2 of those little rune stones and try to jam it in its glands.
What colors?
Let's choose blue, which I had thought was water, but now take to be frost if it made me cold.
Same element. Anything in that family. Water would be tuned to ice.
Okay, we'll be 1 blue and 1 purple.
Okay. Okay, so here's what's up. You have a choice. You can... I don't know when you roll. I know what I want. I know what the choice is, but I don't know when you roll, if it's before or after. Okay, yeah, you have a choice. You can try to stop this thing from attacking your friends and take damage yourself, potentially take damage yourself, Or you can try to shut this thing down from attacking this way again, but you will potentially be opening up the line of fire to your friends.
By way of answering that, because I didn't entirely understand the distinction, let me paint a picture of what I'm thinking here.
Okay.
That I am putting myself in great harm and aware of that. This isn't to stop it from attacking, as if I'm just putting a stopper in there,
Sure.
but imagining that there is going to be a reactive magical effect to doing it. So I am thinking of it as an attack on this thing in its core.
Okay. Sure. I guess the last question I'll ask you is, do you want it to be a maneuver or an attack? You will be able to achieve the same goal no matter what you're doing.
I think it is a maneuver, and I'm hoping that the runes itself, some magical combination, will be doing the attacking.
Okay.
What I'm doing is just getting them in there.
Then it's an act under pressure roll.
4.
You fucker. Okay, here's what's happening.
So here's the thing. It is something that I would like to execute. If I end up fucked because of it, that's fine. But I would be happy to use luck if what's going to happen on a 4 is that I don't manage to get the rocks in there.
No, that's not the way that I want to play this game.
Cool.
You're going to do exactly what you say. To me, you're going to do exactly what you want to do. The price at which you are able to do it is what changes.
I'm ready to pay it.
Okay. So with a full failure, it's not clean what you're doing, because the snake is now trying to position itself to use an attack, but it, in doing so, opens itself up to this insane maneuver that Tag pulls. So he thrusts his hands into these open glands holding these runestones, and there very much is a reaction. What happens first is a blue pop happens, similar in size to the alarms that you guys set. You get the impression that it's not a hand grenade. It is just an effect that is happening. Tag, because you're so close, you see a film of frost cross over this creature's, the inside of its mouth. Then a pop of purple energy happens in the other gland, and the snake starts to hiccup. You turn to get away as the snake's head explodes. But it was priming its ultimate ability, which is a breath weapon that had charged with 2 spells and Puck's entire existence. So when the snake's head explodes, a fountain of lava cascades over everything. You take... How much harm have you taken at this point?
0.
You've taken 0?
Correct.
Okay. Good. Okay. You take 5 harm.
Okay.
It bypasses your invulnerability because of the way the breath weapon is structured.
Okay.
Tag flies through the air and smashes into the sand. He is covered in this lava vial and steaming, and you can see that his skin is boiling. The snake is headless. When I said that its head exploded, I mean that it exploded like a water balloon. And a second later, its helmet flies down and sticks into the sand as its body slumps over. In the silence resounding this very squishy pop, you see the snake's body do something that you are familiar with. The scorpion did it too. It begins to peel away and revert to a red, flaking energy. And it starts to swirl around. And Bryn, you have this moment where you recognize what happened in the past, and you hold out your staff, as a reflex to catch this summon, and the energy whisks away and flies out into the desert and disappears.
Anybody
There
have a
cool. It feels like a great moment for a catchphrase. I'm not a good candidate, but I think we're here.
Does that mean I wasn't worthy for it? That's awful.
I'm
let
lying
this
on the sand and I
drink-
just go, it wasn't corrupted.
Oh.
Tag suffers one harm. He is covered in lava, and he is very close to dying.
I run over with and use my healing spell on him.
Okay. First, you guys will need to deal with the lava vial.
Okay, I'm gonna rip off my trench coat, throw it over him so I can strip off the armor and everything else that's on him.
Sure. Tag, they begin peeling off everything that you're wearing.
Yeah, we could try to make it a dramatic moment, but we all knew that Tag was going to get naked soon, and I guess we are finally here.
I think that there is going to be plenty of opportunity to make fun of you for being naked, but I think for you in this moment, you are lying on your back in the sand looking up at a very unforgiving sky. The sun is going down and darkness is starting to fall on you guys. Everything on you has been stripped away. Your parallel blade is starting to melt into the sand. All of your clothing, what was left of it, everything that ties you to your order has now been burned away. You are lying in a very, very bad way on the ground as they are stripping you. And it's just been one thing after the next. You know, since seeing the professor pull that corruption out of that creature, being confronted what it's like to see technology rip life away from something, and then to find out what that corruption was, and to find out that you were tied to it, to meet your half-dad, to step through each phase of this and see how all of the things that you thought you were or represent have been pulled away piece by piece as you lay there in the sand staring up at the sky. It is a very representative moment to see all of your physical belongings also be stripped. And in this moment, I think you would be much more concerned with the silly front capris and pterodactyl helmet that your new friend made you than you would be. It's almost like the parallel blade and the suit were an afterthought, you know. But you're now one harm away from death, and Bryn is going to attempt to stabilize you. You have dealt with the lava. To be clear, Tag jumped into the boss's mouth and blew its head up and failed his roll. So we're playing by the rules.
So what are the stakes of this healing spell? Because it may kill me, right?
No. There are rules written, and one of them I'm really excited to see happen. But let me just double check. Okay.
I don't know. Feels like it adds some narrative tension if it might kill him.
Actually, it won't. But I think in Tag's mind, the consequences would be worse. So, Bryn, roll your healing spell, plus weird.
Oh no.
Yeah.
God, and I'm just saying, Tag, I'm gonna do everything I can. You're so brave. You killed the serpent. Let's get you healthy.
Just give her a raised thumbs up.
9.
Okay. You heal him 2. This is when this rule finally comes into place. You have a choice. You can heal him 2 or stabilize him without healing him at all.
And what does stabilizing do? It just means he won't die?
Stabilize means that he will stop taking damage. Healing him 2 will get him back to a higher threshold, but he will continue to take damage until you either roll a successful heal or get him to a place where he can get serious medical attention. Continuing to roll heal is going to apply a -1 that will stack every time you do it in sequence if you're trying to just hit somebody with a healing spell.
Stabilize him, sweetheart.
So I don't want you to think that you can just like stay here and roll dice. You can, but there will be consequences. So you can either stabilize him or give him 2 health.
If I stabilize him, he can't take any more harm, correct? Or he'll die.
Right.
And the snake is dead.
The snake is dead, and it has disintegrated, and all of that energy has flown away into the desert. Now, to be clear, it didn't just disappear. It seemed to collect and then travel as though being pulled somewhere.
Okay.
Shit.
Cool.
That's a
I'm
hard.
not going to weigh in here. I'm going to play this as I don't believe that Tag is
Conscious.
exhibiting much lucidity at all or cognitive capacity. I think that he's like able to breathe, and that's about it.
Stabilize.
Just to be clear, if I heal him for 2, I have to roll again, but at disadvantage.
You will be able to do whatever you guys want. So you're in the desert. You will have to travel back to the Tyne village in order to declare your victory and get their help. On that journey, Tag will be a ticking time bomb because he will continue to take harm as the journey continues. You can re-roll heal whenever you want, but every time you do, starting with the next one, you will get -1 and it will continue to stack. This is a difficult decision, and I mean it to be. Both options are potentially fatal. And so with this moment, you know, like the way that I see it is, he just one-shotted a boss and saved you guys a potentially prolonged fight in which Puck could no longer deal 8 damage a pop. This thing still had a side, like, so the trade-off is like he just one-shotted a boss, but the cost of that is now this. And so you just have to decide how you want to do it and where you want to start.
And whether or not this factors into how you're thinking about this scenario, I believe Rex is also very injured.
How injured?
I took 4 harm.
Oh my gosh! Rex is also unstable. So she will continue to take damage no matter what. You can try and heal her. The first one won't be at a penalty.
All right, I go to Rex with some of that magic water.
Okay.
Like, you should probably drink some of this. You too. Both of you should be drinking some of that water. See if that helps a little bit.
Rex, it heals you +1, which brings you up to be stabilized.
Great.
Yeah, I'll stabilize Tag.
Okay, so Tag is at 1 harm, but he is now stable. He will not continue to take damage because he is stable.
Oh,
I
I
also-
also stayed at 5 harm. Okay. That's where I was a little confused. Okay.
You what?
I thought he stayed at 5 harm, but he was stable, so yeah, of course I'll stabilize him.
No, I'm sorry, like I'm communicating it wrong. He's got 1 life point.
Oh, okay. So yes, then okay, that sucks. Okay. I still make that decision.
Okay, he is stable.
Can we also give him a water so now that he has 2 life points?
The water does not seem to be helping him. It's a situation where this type of injury is going to require serious attention. And so magic can heal him, but even the waters this far removed isn't going to do anything for this kind of injury. It's his entire body that's been destroyed. So for you, Rex, like you got punched around, you take a sip, it's like lembas bread, you feel better. With him, you're probably going to be using it to keep him alive on this journey, but yeah.
I would like to pull out my cloak and just sort of make a makeshift bed for us to carry him on because there's no way he can walk.
Sure, which cloak?
Just a basic.
Invisibility.
Oh, I don't have that. Who has that?
Rex?
I
Rex.
have that.
Can we use the invisibility cloak? And maybe, yeah.
Oh, and I also pull out the shield with the idea that we can put the cloak on top of the shield and then kind of make a sling to drag him along the grass with.
Sure.
Or the sand with.
Yeah, and so I think that our final scene is the party laying Tag down in this makeshift sling stretcher and marching away towards the Tyne village. And you were very careful about plotting how to get back. You know where you're going. It's going to be a long journey and it's going to be difficult, but you will not be lost. And then we touch base with Tag, because he is now wrapped in the invisibility cloak. And what he feels is, instead of a soft sling suspended state, Tag, you feel as though you are laying on hard stone. And when you sit up to look around you, you are on what appears to be an altar. And you are also in a wavering place very similar to the phase state, except there is no presence of any elemental energy here. Only that malice which you've experienced before. And standing across from you is a tall figure wrapped in a black cloak and black metal armor, wearing a black metal crown and carrying a very large glaive.
Well,
And they're looking at you.
hey, Dad.
Hello.
Is this part of your plan?
No, I was certain that you were going to perish, and a lot of work would have been wasted.
Well, I'm working on it, so don't get your hopes up too soon. I've thought about it. I've decided I really like my friends. And so I don't think that I will be accepting your offer to end existence as we know it, or to usher in an age of malice and doom. I don't really know the specifics of your proposal, but it didn't exactly sound too colorful and to my liking. So, Dad, thanks but no thanks. I'll pass.
How disappointing.
Well, that makes two of us.
Your path will be considerably difficult from this moment forward. There have been strings pulled from our end to ensure your safety. I cannot guarantee that any longer. Should you shirk this duty, you will find that we, and in a way, you, will be unable to see it incomplete. Most of what is happening has been set in place over a long period of time, and you are designed to be a catalyst. There will come a moment of choice, and if you stick to these guns, you will be able to throw a wrench in the gears. But I assure you, Tag, son, that if you go against us, we will consume you, and we will put you back in the exact same place, in the exact same fashion, so that you can try again.
You know, the interesting thing about growing up without a dad, without that presence at all in my life, is that you haven't had those formative years to build a foundation for that kind of fear-mongering. I'm not afraid of you.
And with the way this iteration has gone, nor should you be. We've tried it many different ways, and I understand your pain, but in all of the times that I was there with you from the beginning, that I, in a form much like yours, raised you, you failed. And so this time we decided to...
Whoa, what is this time? You talking about other kids? Other, like, brothers and sisters? What do you mean?
While we are taking this stance of parent and son, there is only one of us, Tag. There has only ever been one of us.
Well, I'm not... You...
In order to allow you to cross over to the place that you are, we did have to imbue you each time with a semblance of mortality, and therefore...
What the fuck is each time mean? I'm not you. I have memories.
Yes, and they are real.
Feelings. I make decisions that I want to make. I don't even know you.
Tag, I'm not trying to undercut your existence. Those feelings, those emotions, they are real. They are a product of your placement in that place. But you must understand that this is not the first. And defy us, though you might, it will not be the last.
And I think Tag just starts to freak out a little bit in this place that he's in. And because his health is so low in the real world, it becomes a very dangerous thing for him to do, and he just starts yelling and just screaming and just trying to shake himself out of this conversation, out of this plane of existence, out of sight of this thing that he's in front of. And he just starts screaming, trying to wake himself up out of a dream just by yelling.
Sure. The half-dad says, I can see this is getting us nowhere. And fades back, almost to the edge of the light that you are in this place. And you are now sitting on an altar. Unless you physically remove the invisibility cloak from you, you will remain in this place in your current state. But this figure no longer tries to address you. And as you lay there, others appear and gather around the light, standing in this half shadow that's being created. And this song starts to cross through them. And unlike the Tynes' idle humming, this feels rehearsed and very, very old. And it's a song that you recognize immediately. And as you are laying there on this altar in this darkness, it takes every ounce that you have left to not sing along. Blackout.
Speechless. Wow.
Oh,
All right. Well,
oh, poor
There you go.
Tag.
Yeah.
oh my god. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for hanging out with us and enjoying the story. We have so much fun doing this. I know it's like the highlight of the week for me, for sure. And having an audience join in and build these characters with us and be here with us means so much. So thank you. Guys, if you want to go ahead and just go around and say where you can be found if you want to be found, starting with Jesse.
I'm at Jesse_Keeter on Twitter.
And Mr. Chronomerks.
Hey, this week I'm going to plug The Origin of Casey and I's Friendship, which is a little web series about Magic the Gathering called Mana Screwed. You can find it on YouTube, or if you go to manascrewed.tv, it's also there. And Casey Jackson is... that's where I'm at.
Love it. All right, Casey, how about you?
Well, that's very kind of Connor. Just briefly, you can find me at Case Jackalope at Instagram. But just to be fair, during that shoot, there is an exceptional amount of footage ruined by me because I'm laughing because Connor is so incredibly funny, which you guys get to see here in the show, as well as his dramatic chops. So, yeah.
Yay, I love it. And Miss Trin?
Hey guys, I'm also going to do a little bit of a longer plug this week because a film that I worked on a couple years ago, it is its last week on Netflix. So please go give Saint Agatha.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a horror film about some really mean nuns in the 1950s in rural Georgia. And I get to play a type of character I don't think I've ever gotten to play before. And I have really had a lot of fun doing it. So it would mean a lot to me if you would go watch Saint Agatha on Netflix. And if you want to talk to me about it afterwards, you can find me at Trin Miller on Twitter.
This movie is a treat. It is a fucking romp. Wholehearted endorsement of
the main villain.
I didn't know that it was leaving
not
Netflix. That's a bummer.
I just found out about that a couple days ago.
Okay.
So I do not play the main villain in it, but the main villain in it is incredible and very fun to watch. Also horrifying.
Yes. That was super good. I saw it. I loved it. I'm Lisa Coronado. Actually, I had the film drop on the Fantasy Network, part of the Strowlers. It's episode 4. It's called A Small Favor. I got to write it with my friend Samara Lerman, and it continues Pepper Jones, which is a character I
Hell
created
yeah!
with Ben Dobbins. So yay! That just dropped. You can watch episode 2, which is in Ireland, and then episode 4 directly follows it, called A Small Favor.
Own the hell out of that. You created that character.
Yes,
That
I
whole
did.
thing exists because of you. Like,
Oh man, yeah. it was
hello.
I wanted to play a female Indiana Jones. I was like, how do I do that? So yeah, it was super fun. And a big thanks to Mark Thomason, our tech guru. Thank you so much. And to Aaron Buman for creating our really dope intro and music that you hear throughout it. He's incredible. To our mods, Paximo and Merc Worky. And to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us. Thank you so much. You can catch Masters of the Metaverse on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm not sure. Do we have couriers on Friday? Maybe. We might have couriers on Friday. I'm not sure, but you can check the Zombie Orpheus schedule, and we will be back next Wednesday.
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Love you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, what?